Chapter 581. The Forbidden Area That Cannot Be Stepped Into. Your momentum is very high, this is what I most want to see. Gong Yi opened his mouth to say this, and then paused for a while, but... You are just blindly searching for Akatsuki with such passion. When you really meet, you must avoid unnecessary sacrifices. Because of Akatsuki's members, since they can overthrow the Temple of Fire, their strength is naturally very strong, and each of you should not underestimate the enemy. Said that, Gong Yi opened the document in his hand and continued, in order to ensure that this operation can be truly successful, this should be the information of the top secret document, I decided to tell you. The record here is also the Akatsuki members who invaded our country of fire this time, their various materials. For Akatsuki's information, Gong Yi still has no reservations. In order to prevent the plot from drifting, he naturally decided to announce the corner, both with Hidan's ability of the ninja to the maximum extent, he still needs to let them know the strength of the undead duo. Gong Yi didn't want it, the ninja power he cultivated through his hard work died without any effect at all. And because of arrogance, or because of a hot head, he was completely killed. Then Gong Yi will lose a lot. Told them all the information and abilities of the two, in fact, it can also calm them down in disguise. Going to accomplish this task of maintaining the dignity of Konoha village while remaining sane is the main purpose of Gong Yi. Originally, the pursuit of Akatsuki this time was just a simple show. Master taking the initiative at the Five Shadows meeting, so it's just an excuse. After all, Gong Yi needs political achievements in Konoha village, and he also needs it in the entire ninja world. Now it's possible to kill 2 Akatsuki members again, which is a good shock to the rest of Omura. Well, without losing too many ninjas. Suppressing his thoughts, Gong Yi said lightly to the crowd, the Akatsuki members who invaded our country of fire this time, they are called the Undying Duo in the ninja continent. Well, the duo. I've heard of them both. Hearing this, the Jonins from Konoha village in front of them really calmed down a lot. Just wanted to tear the Akatsuki members into 8 pieces, and gradually recovered a lot. Well, many people must have heard of their reputation. As the noisy voice gradually stopped, Gong Yi's face continued seriously, as the name suggests, now one of their members is named Zhao Du, the former elite ninja of Taki Ninja Village. Now he is very dangerous, you guys remember not to take it lightly. It's called Kaku. Akatsuki members of the capital, he can use chakra to manipulate the black tentacles released from his body, so as to steal the hearts of others. And because of such a secret technique, he also has the ability to correspond to immortality, that is, his body is now rumored to have 5 hearts. So, to really kill him now, you need to break his heart 5 times. Wait, the ninjas of Konoha village spoke again, Gong Yi said, and another member Hidan, his ability is even more special, I hope you can be prepared, he is really unkillable in the current sense. No matter what kind of trauma to his body, he can't be lethal, even through intelligence, even if his head is cut off, if someone sews it up, he can still continue to survive, so you. Long time. Standing all around looked a lot more serious. Some people even had cold sweats on their palms. The undead duo, in Akatsuki. Basically everyone has heard of it. But it was considered a joke before, and no one cared at all. When I heard Gong Yi finished talking about their information, they all gasped. Because they never thought that these 2 guys would be so weird. No wonder they could extinguish the Temple of Fire completely and silently. If it wasn't for a monk who had gone out earlier, I'm afraid this news would never have been spread. Thinking of this, those ninjas who had been impulsive in the past gradually calmed down a lot. As elites, they can naturally judge the situation, not like a young ninja who bites Kiba and rushes out to fight. Okay, the 2 Akatsuki members are really dangerous now, so you start dividing each other into small groups, don't leave too far, and do a betting test search. Seeing that it was almost done, Gong Yi immediately instructed, if you find out their whereabouts, you will immediately send out the signal, and I will arrive in person to catch them all. Do you understand now? Understood. Understood. Hearing this, every Konoha ninja secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Now that they know that Gong Yi, their 5th generation Hokage, is going to do it in person, it relieves their pressure a lot. Now if the two of them really meet, they estimate that in the entire ninja continent, I am afraid that only their own Hokage can solve it. They don't have arrogance or blind self-confidence, they can solve the top missing nin in the ninja continent. Especially with the ability to undead in secret. Okay, as soon as you understand. Go. Gong Yi nodded with satisfaction and waved his hand. Let Akatsuki know, now the land of fire is a restricted area that they can't step into. Yes. A group of ninjas regrouped, immediately. Responded enthusiastically. Lord Hokage. Just as the rest of the people walked away, Sarutobi Asuma came over. Asuma, what's wrong? Gong Yi turned his head to the side, looked at him and asked. The Temple of Fire, isn't there a host who originally guarded one of the 12 ninjas? It should be him, escaped from Akatsuki's hands. I'm sorry Asuma, the host of the land has been sacrificed by Akatsuki's poisonous hands. Hearing Sarutobi Asuma asking this, he shook his head with a regretful look on his face. What? Sarutobi Asuma's heart sank, and a look of sadness appeared on his face. His pair of eyes were even a little empty at the moment, obviously unable to accept this fact. Bastard, these two goddamn fellows. A long silence, Sarutobi Asuma clenched his fists and said while biting Kiba. Asuma, I can understand how you feel. Gong Yi patted Sarutobi Asuma on the shoulder and comforted. Fortunately, the members of Akatsuki have not left the country of fire. I will avenge him and the monks of the entire fire temple. Well, Lord Hokage, I'll do it right now. Go. Quickly adjust your mind. Sarutobi Asuma nodded, the whole person immediately. Dodge out of here. Now the flame of natural vengeance in his heart is also very strong. Looking at his back, Gong Yi was not surprised. He knew that the relationship between Dalu and Sarutobi Asuma was very good when they were both guardians of the 12 ninjas. Therefore, Gong Yi can understand his situation. Chapter 582. Offset Plot. Lord Hokage, that's basically it. Over there, we didn't find anything at all. Yamato stood here, looked at Gong Yi in front of him and said. Didn't take long, when the newly formed 20 squad just left, Yamato came back with Kakashi squad and others. After Sai and Naruto went back, Yamato immediately came to the Hokage office to report the mission details. Didn't find anything. After hearing Yamato say this, Gong Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the Tiandichou incident did not take place now. Presumably it was also because of Orochimaru's side. I guess I heard the wind. It seems that Orochimaru is very jealous of me now. Thinking of this, Gong Yi revealed a faint smile. Gong Yi sees very clearly the current situation. Sasori of the Red Sand's spy is Kabuto. That's right. But in fact Kabuto, he is a man of Orochimaru. When Orochimaru joined Akatsuki, Kabuto pretended to follow Sasori of the Red Sand. Of course, Sasori of the Red Sand was the one who knew that Kabuto was Orochimaru. In this way, Sasori of the Red Sand played a trick on Kabuto and used him to inquire about Orochimaru's information. He may not have thought that Orochimaru had seen through the secret magic that Sasori of the Red Sand performed on Kabuto. Later, after Orochimaru cracked this secret technique, he began to spy on Akatsuki and his intelligence in a formal and open manner. Slowly I regained my senses, and now these things are actually not important to Gong Yi at all. Originally, Gong Yi wanted to use the incident of the Tiandichou so that Naruto could exercise properly and began to slowly contact the Kyuubi, 9 tails, in his body. However, this time the imagined situation did not appear. Well, Normally speaking, after Naruto and the others arrived at Tiandi Bridge, Yamato disguised as Sasorian approached Sasori's undercover agent, while Naruto and the others hid behind rocks and waited for instructions. To the surprise of the group, it turned out that the undercover agent was, and after Orochimaru appeared, Yamato's disguised identity was revealed, and the two sides fought. Immediately, Naruto was provoked, transformed into a Kyuubi, nine-tails fox, lost his will, and injured Sakura. Between Orochimaru and Naruto, which Kabuto called, a battle between monsters. After Orochimaru, because the 3-year deadline has come, the body can't bear it, there may be danger at any time, and it is easy to be injured by the Kyuubi, nine-tails that Naruto continues to evolve, so he does not dare to fight and leave. On Naruto's side, he was suppressed by the power of Yamato's manipulation of the tailed beast and turned back into a human. After sobering up, he learned that he had hurt Sakura and felt guilty, and agreed with Yamato that he should constantly control his own power to protect the important people around him. After the second growth, Naruto can also be stronger and stronger. All of this is very good, but after clearing the current reality, people practice with the same effort. In the future war, Naruto is indispensable, so Gongyi naturally wants to hone him as much as possible and urge him to move forward. However, it seems that the whole plot has unknowingly shifted. So Gongyi doesn't care anymore. Since it can't be done here at present, there will naturally be many opportunities to train him in the future. This protagonist, Gongyi, naturally knows that he can't remain anonymous forever. Calculating the time, Sasuke, who is now by Orochimaru's side, will basically return. When Sasuke comes back, he can give Naruto a little pressure by himself. Lord Hokage, they already heard about the things over at the Temple of Fire. Yamato's side, after seeing that everything was said, he looked at Gongyi and asked, now that Akatsuki has entered the land of fire, I will immediately. Let's go. They're dangerous, and now I think they really need to be caught. No. Senses, Gongyi shook his head. There are enough people dispatched now, so you don't have to go. Now you can go back and have a good rest, and then I have other tasks for you. Basically, Gongyi already knew about what happened after that. So he doesn't want to send too many people, after all, every ninja is a resource. When Gongyi didn't become Hokage, he didn't think too much. But now that I really sit here, I find that some things are really not wasted at will. Knew it, Gongyi actually understood Sarutobi Hiruzen's mood. Just reconciliation. At that time, Gongyi felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen's benevolent policy was really hard to accept. But thinking about it now, in disguise, Sarutobi Hiruzen is also a ninja that he can't bear to hold. After all, every time a ninja is cultivated now, it consumes a lot of resources. Gongyi here is relying on huge financial resources, and this slowly began to increase the strength of the ninja. Otherwise, at the time of Sarutobi Hiruzen, there were not many ninjas who could really be put on the stage. On the entire ninja continent, in fact, every ninja Omura is like this. In the original book, a Sannin and a Konoha White Fang could even hold up an era of Konoha. It can be imagined that although ninjas seem to be as numerous as dogs in the later stage, they are actually very precious. The same way, Gongyi is only just showing off for outsiders now, and sending out so many ninja teams is already very good. Yamato's side, Gongyi naturally doesn't want to use it easily. And now when this matter is over, Gongyi has the rest of the tasks to give him. Borrowing his Mokuden wood style to train Naruto is what Gongyi thought. Although I have a Mokuden wood style now, it is not the time to reveal it. After all, Senju Hashirama is the first Hokage of Konoha village and the one who founded Konoha village. Now secretly study his cells, and thus succeed. Let some interested people know, and then use this to make an article. In the current turbulent early stage, Gongyi could be in trouble. Therefore, for the sake of the future, Gongyi will not be exposed easily. Well, when everything is over, then I have nothing to worry about. But it's definitely not now. Now that I have obtained the meteorite from the Star Ninja Village, I will devote myself to the research of the 10 Tails Jinchuriki column power. Time has been delayed long enough. Gong Yi doesn't want to postpone it. There are other things that he doesn't want to pay attention to anymore. On Naruto's side, leave it to Kakashi and Yamato. As for Sasuke, Orochimaru has trained him enough for himself. Well, the overall combat power of Konoha village is now very satisfying to Gong Yi. Chapter 583. Black Market Exchange. It's been so long, why haven't there been any news yet? A small team of special ninjas waiting for the position of the carrier pigeon. Ninjas who are far away want to send information, they usually need to contact specially trained ninja pigeons to report on paper, and send it back with ninja pigeons. A bit similar to the ancient times of modern times, that kind of flying pigeons pass books. World of Hokage with a deformed technology tree, there is no such high technology as mobile phones. Therefore, the ninjas wearing special costumes here are all responsible for the news of these ninja pigeons. Hula, hula. Soon, after waiting for a long time, a gray-black pigeon began to fly in the distance. When they landed in a special position, the ninjas opened the thin tubes tied to their feet, and then directly took out the information inside. It's news from the third team. Our border regions and way. There is also news from the squad at the location. Team 10, there is a message now. After opening the leaving note, a group of ninjas reported one after another. And the ninjas waiting here, after they finished recording, they also immediately dodged to Hokage's office. Now the entire communication system is very mature, and everything in the entire Konoha village can be seen to be in order. Lord Hokage, now all our news is. That's it. The whereabouts of the Akatsuki members have not been found at all now. In Hokage's office, two special ninjas told him the news that Ninja Pigeon had just brought. Didn't find it. Gong Yi spoke slowly, with a serious look on his face. With the Temple of Fire as the center, within a radius of 150 kilometers, a comprehensive encirclement network has been launched. Nara Shikaku, who was standing next to Gong Yi, frowned and said inexplicably, accordingly, we are so strict that even the ants can't escape, how could there be no news from them? Report. Lord Hokage, the region, there is nothing unusual either. At this time, another person walked in quickly outside, and immediately reported. Damn, did they leave the Fire Nation overnight? Nara Shikaku bit Kiba, and the whole person looked very bad. I don't think it's possible. The whole house, Gong Yi's face was obviously the most indifferent. He didn't appear too urgent, but said slowly, according to Akatsuki's character now, I don't think they will leave so willingly. Oh, by the way, now go to the Nesma team in the Temple of Fire, do you have any clues about how they are? After speaking, Gong Yi looked at the ninjas in front and asked. Lord Hokage, we haven't heard anything from the Asuma team now. The leading ninja shook his head. Well, don't worry now. Everything is just the beginning. I think they will gain something by going to investigate the situation at the Temple of Fire. Gong Yi nodded and continued, for now, we just need to wait. ... Ah, you bastard, I've had enough. A dense jungle, the sun shines through the leaves. Hidan walked behind with a 3-stage scythe on his back, looked at Hidan in front of him and complained, the two of you are traveling, but your companion is a boring guy like you who only knows how to make money, and the rare ones are wasted. We didn't come out to be happy. Walking in the front corner, he looked behind him from the corner of his eye and responded slowly. I saw him now, holding a monk in his hand. The monk closed his eyes, and his whole body was no longer angry. Apparently, he was already a corpse. Yes, we are here to investigate the force of Jinchuriki column. But now I feel like, how come I haven't even got any news from him? Shaking his head, Hidan looked at the corner with a speechless face. Do you also do the additional work for me, the person who accompanies you? Think about it. It's so noisy. Now let's go to the cash exchange office and get the money. It's not too late to do it again. Ah, okay. Hidan shrugged, as if he was already familiar with the corner, this unhurried character. At the same time, just as the two were moving towards the gold exchange, Sarutobi Asuma's team also left the fire temple. Now the place they are headed to is also the same as the horn, all Hidan. Because of the previous Gongyi, he once gave Sarutobi Asuma a very important news. The corner of this undead duo, but has an irresistible love for money. In this way, after Sarutobi Asuma did not find Jalu's body in the Temple of Fire, he immediately. No. It is very likely that this Kakuzu, he wants to take the corpse of the land in exchange for a reward. This simple sum, the whole thing can be linked together. They came to the country of fire to investigate Jinchuriki column force. But the reason why they suddenly chose to attack the Temple of Fire can only show that this Kakuzu, he had a plan. The same time that they came to investigate Jinchuriki column, they were also secretly preparing funds. And this corner who loves money very much, how could he miss such a good opportunity? So Sarutobi Asuma immediately after his simple inference, knowing a place is absolutely likely to find them. The gold exchange in the land of fire. The gold exchange is the place where the underground black market specializes in trading corpses. It is rumored that there are 5 buildings in total, each of which is built in the territory of the 5 countries. Although each of the 5 major countries knew of their existence, no one paid any attention to them. So it is rumored that this gold exchange is likely to be set up for the 5 major countries in Hokage. Otherwise, the funds it needs to maintain are quite high, and ordinary existence simply cannot afford it. And the reason why they want to collect the bodies of these powerhouses from each other. First, they want to obtain information and ninjutsu through special means. The second is to achieve the purpose of weakening the effective power of hostile countries through the temptation of high-priced bounties. Now the 555 exchange gold exchanges are all interconnected, and many ninjas are killed every day because of it. As Sarutobi Asuma, the son of the 3rd generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, he naturally knows many obscure things. He also heard a large part of the information from Sarutobi Hiruzen. That's why, after Gongyi's reminder and his own judgment, now Sarutobi Asuma knows that Kaku, Duo and Hidan, the 2 Akatsuki members, should have gone to the country of fire to exchange the position of the gold house. Chapter 584. Bounty Ninja. Lord Hokage, now there is news from the Sarutobi Asuma team. The special ninja who left before, he came here second to report. Handed the document he just recorded to Gongyi directly. Oh Asuma, they really went to the gold exchange. Opening the file, Gongyi had no surprise on his face after simply reading it. Before he left Sarutobi Asuma, he had revealed to him that he was in love with money. Unexpectedly, he has already guessed the situation through the fire temple. In charge of communication delivery, the content description of the file he sent was very simple. Sarutobi Asuma also knows that Akatsuki is definitely not leaving now. Contrary, they should be in the position of the gold exchange. After all, the corpse of Dalu is now gone, so it can be guessed with a simple synthesis. Don't they really go to that place now? Nara Shikaku read the document Gongyi handed him, and the whole person was a little hard to understand. These people in Akatsuki, for Nara Shikaku, are quite wonderful. He could not have imagined that such a force had just been slaughtered on the enemy's land. The first thing they should do is either to leave here, or they should choose to avoid it. But unfortunately, now they are swaggeringly holding the corpse to exchange for money. Nara Shikaku now knows how to kung fu, and he somehow feels that this is a bit unbelievable. No matter how much he thinks about it, he can't understand now that this undead duo really has such a big heart. It's impossible to say this. Gong-yi smiled and looked at Nara Shikaku. Now that Akatsuki is developing here, they need funds very much, and the guy who is in charge of preparing the funds now is this member named Kobo. Not only that, but I also got a piece of news earlier, saying that this Akatsuki member named Kokaku, too, is famous for his love for money. Taking the documents back and reclosing them together, Gong-yi smiled. He was in other big countries before, and he had assassinated a lot of people, and now he is an existence that everyone is afraid of. He is very famous in the entire ninja continent. Bounty ninja. Bounty ninja. His existence is just as the name suggests. Generally they will complete the tasks through the tasks released in the black market and obtain money from them. And Zhao Du, as a powerful man, he is even more famous in the entire black market. Especially his mission completion rate, which is very high. As for the gold exchange, Gong-yi didn't know it before. But when you become Hokage, you will naturally come into contact with more secrets. This gold exchange is also one of them. As for the current situation of the gold exchange, it is actually still obscure. Gong-yi guessed, now there is a bounty to buy and sell these. The life of a powerful ninja. There must be home's big name. These countries secretly issue bounties and weaken the power of other countries, all by default. Gong-yi believes that people from his own family kill their own people. Especially like the land, and Sarutobi Asuma, who used to protect the 12 ninjas. The retired bodyguard of the famous name, sounds good. But in fact, their hidden dangers are enormous. They knew too much about the big name, and too much about him, both glorious and disgraceful. Particular, there are too many uses for corpses in Hokage, making puppets, impure world reincarnation, studying ninjutsu, etc., and even digging out the secrets in their minds. So now they want to keep their image, already want to keep some of their secrets. Then it is also very likely that he will personally go to the Black Hand to get rid of these people. Therefore, they, the highest superiors, may also balance the power of ninjas in this way in disguise. Well, to put it bluntly, it is also to prevent the ninja village from rebelling and to remove the possible hazards prematurely. Thinking of this, Gong-yi smiled. Among the current bounties in the entire black market, it is estimated that his head should be the most valuable. But unfortunately, even though he knew that he was a moving treasury, no one dared to come to me. Power. Through this incident, Gong-yi couldn't help but sigh. To put it bluntly, you still need to be strong. If you don't have great strength, you can only become a lamb to be slaughtered. Damn, if this is the case, they are really provoking our dignity too much. Hearing Gong-yi finish saying this, Nara Shikaku's expression became even worse. The current situation is already embarrassing, and if such a thing happens, it will be even more humiliating. In their country of fire, they are so unscrupulous, they don't pay attention to their Konoha village at all. Hihi, Shikaku-sensei, you are leaving things to deal with later. Gong-yi stood up with a smile on his face, and patted Nara Shikaku on the shoulder. The situation on Akatsuki's side is a bit special. Since they haven't found anything yet, I'll go and see for myself. After all, there is always an explanation for such a thing. Going to the window, Gong-yi looked at the thriving Konoha village. Now before it spreads, the two of them must die. This can be regarded as an invisible wave of momentum for our Konoha village. Gong-yi now naturally knows that since Sarutobi Asuma has already gone to the gold exchange, then they will definitely meet. So Gong-yi also took advantage of this time to visit in advance. This also saves you from taking action later. I understand, Hokage-sama. Nara Shikaku nodded, looked at Gong-yi and said, Akatsuki and the others are very weird, you must be careful. Now Nara Shikaku knows that Gong-yi's strength is terrifying, but he is still very worried about this situation. After all, this is Kung Fu, Akatsuki here, the shock they gave Nara Shikaku and others was too great. Hihi, Shikaku-sensei, your worries are unnecessary. Looking back, Gong-yi's face didn't change at all. he just smiled faintly, just relying on them can't threaten me at all. As long as they appear now, I will naturally deal with them myself. A feeling of invincibility and self-confidence was immediately revealed. The people, but on Gongyi, Nara Shikaku doesn't think so in the slightest. Okay Shikaku, sensei, I'll go take a look first. No more talking nonsense, Gongyi looked at Naralu and gave two last words, immediately. Activated the Hiraishin technique and left here. By the time he reappeared, he had already arrived outside Konoha village. Chapter 585. Iron Partner, Kamizuki Izumo Steel Iron. What are you doing? The rogue Hidan, looking at the corner, suddenly walked into a townhouse building. Do you want to go to the toilet? Hidan saw the corner and ignored him. He shrugged, it's really a lot of work, then I'll drop by and make it easier. Did you really come here? When Hidan just stepped in a jungle on the side, Gongyi stood here quietly. Of the Fire Nation, after Gongyi activates Hiraishin, he can reach it instantly. Breath, Gongyi has arrived here in Konoha village. And just so, now he is only a few seconds away from Hidan. Obviously, everything was as Gongyi expected. Hihi, Asuma and the others are here too. Gongyi stood on the tall tree, he turned his head and looked the other side. The powerful sense of consciousness spreads in an all-round way, and Gongyi can perceive everything around him. Now Sarutobi Asuma, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji led by him have come here. Not only their small class, but also two people followed them. When you dodge and come here, you can see the appearance of the two of them. One had a bandage on his face, and one had a long head curtain covering one eye. As for these two people, Gongyi, as Hokage, naturally doesn't know each other. They are the excellent Chunin, Gangzitai and Kamizuki Izumo of Konoha village. These two iron partners also used demonic illusion to test Haruno Sakura and the others during the Chunin exam. Although they only have the strength of Chunin at the moment, but if the two are together, ordinary Jonin can't resist. After all, the tacit understanding and deep trust they have cultivated over the years have made the cooperation between the two almost seamless. Well, the two of them admire Asuma very much, so it is not surprising that Gongyi follows this mission. Now that there are already guesses, a little more people will naturally reduce some troubles. Ah, Asuma-sensei, this is the money exchange you said. Yamanaka Ino looked at the toilet building in front and asked in disbelief. It's here, there's nothing wrong with it. Sarutobi Asuma with a serious face nodded and responded. Now let's hide and wait for a while. Looking around, now Sarutobi Asuma is not in much mood to explain to them. And everyone knows the relationship between Sarutobi Asuma and Delu. Now that something like this happened, they didn't ask any more questions. Nodding, everyone dodged and hid around. At this moment, Gongyi, he did not go out directly. He was waiting. Now only Sarutobi Asuma is here, and when they can't hold on at all, Gongyi will choose to appear. So far, if I go out directly now, I have no effort to kill the corner, both with Hidan, it will be meaningless. Coming here today, firstly, I want to do it, and secondly, I want to take advantage of this opportunity to completely win over people's hearts. Sarutobi Asuma, Nara Shikamaru and others are a rare fighting force. Especially they are the next generation of Ino Shikacho, very young seed ninjas. This time with the help of Sarutobi Asuma, and the corner, Hidan is here, Gongyi is very good and will win people's hearts. Especially for Sarutobi Asuma, let him walk around the edge of life and death, he will be better for himself. Sarutobi Asuma's character is later, he is also a person who attaches great importance to friendship and is grateful for pictures. So, now that I have personally taken action, I have saved his life, and I will be better as a master in the future. That's why, after a series of considerations, Gongyi chose to save him. If it's the kind of guy who sticks to the Sarutobi Hiruzen philosophy, and like Kaharu Udatain Homura Mitokado, ca and control it. Then Gongyi won't care about it, but will make some stumbles. It is best to let them die early. The smell here is really disgusting. A short time, Hidan, who was carrying a 3-stage scythe behind him, came out and complained. He was very nervous, and he didn't notice at all. He had been stared at by several eyes for a long time. Asuma-sensei, they are actually here. Shikamaru hid behind and looked at Hidan with a serious expression. Looks like we guessed right. Sarutobi Asuma was a little indignant, and the whole person clenched his fists. What shall we do next, Asuma-sensei? Yamanaka Ino followed by the side, and the whole person asked quietly. As planned. Sarutobi Asuma looked at the people around him, and said slowly, now, just as they are separated, we just need to defeat them one by one. Understood. Seeing a few people nodding, Sarutobi Asuma took the lead and left. Zhao, Du, your speed is too slow. Hidan, who was sitting on the steps, felt that there was someone behind him. He turned his head and said, whoosh, 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 n. After hearing a sound of breaking through the air, Hidan forcibly suppressed the next sentence. Because of his. In front of him, several shuriken flew. Almost instantly, Hidan's reaction speed was very fast, and the 3-forged sickle behind him was immediately taken out by him. Clang clang clang, sparks are flying. Hidan swung forward, and the 3-stage sickle swept out directly, and several shuriken were shot down one after another. You guys who want to sneak attack on me are really abominable. Hidan's face showed a trace of dissatisfaction, and when the words fell, the 3-stage scythe slashed towards Sarutobi Asuma's eyes. A sickle attached to a long rope, it was so fast that it almost came in the blink of an eye. A loud bang, Sarutobi Asuma dodged Hidan's blow. Can't move. At the same time. When Hidan just wanted to control the rope, to retract the scythe to launch the second round of attacks. His complexion showed a trace of disbelief. Swish, swish, it was in his mind, the moment this thought appeared just now. Both sides of Hidan, Kamizuki Izumo and Iron Steel were slashing with ninja swords in their hands. Puff, accompanied by 2 muffled noises, all the ninja swords in their hands were inserted into Hidan's body. I just found out, it's too late. Nara Shikaku, who was standing on the roof, sneered, with a shadow imitation in his hand. Good job, get rid of one first. Sarutobi Asuma's serious face revealed a rare smile. The rest of the people also had excited expressions on their faces. But, at this time. Chapter 586. Immortality and Forbidden Technique. It hurts so much. Hidan, who was pierced by iron and steel and Kamizuki Izumo, gradually turned cold on his face. I said, who are you guys? What? How come? When Sarutobi Asuma and the others heard Hidan speak, their expressions changed drastically. Especially Gangzi Tai and Kamizuki Izumo, they were even more heartbroken. Now they completely showed an unbelievable look. Gongyi had told them before that there was nothing wrong with Hidan being immortal. But by everyone's inference, they're an undead duo. It should be in the case of using some kind of secret technique, so that it can start to make itself fall into a state that cannot be killed. And that's why Sarutobi Asuma decided to use quick fix tactics, so that they didn't use ninjutsu before. Immediate decision, kill him first. But, in Hidan's state now, it seems that there is nothing at all. It's clear that he doesn't have a hand seal, or what is the right thing to do. Sarutobi Asuma's heart froze, she just didn't want to believe it. Obviously hit the key point. He won't have time at all to activate the secret technique. Tai and Kamizuki Izumo, they bit Kiba and couldn't help but continue to turn the knife. I said it hurts. Hidan seemed to feel it, and his face showed an impatient look. You guys are still here endlessly. Is it true? Is it really as Hokage-sama said? He really is immortal. Voice fell. Kamizuki Izumo said with an ugly face. We all misunderstood. He did not rely on secret techniques to do this at all. Hee, that's really naive. Standing in the dense jungle, Gongyi shook his head as he watched Sarutobi Asuma's attack. Now that they misunderstood what he meant, Gongyi was not surprised. Contrary, Gongyi is really conceivable. After all, being immortal, in the ninja continent, is indeed very impossible. Even if there is, it is indeed as they thought, all of which are the effects of secret arts. However, if the secret technique is not used, the so-called immortal body is naturally a joke. But unfortunately, they can indeed effectively restrain such a thing by using a quick fix method. They really chose the wrong person. Gongyi is also very interested in Hidan's body. Originally wanted to wait until later, even if they didn't come to Konoha. Gongyi also wants to go to Akatsuki in person, and Hidan will take it back and study it. Fortunately, Hidan came uninvited today, so he could take this opportunity to bring him back. Immortality, this is what many people ask for. And now Gongyi also thinks that Hidan is really a very stupid guy. His body itself is a big one, but he didn't make the best use of it at all, but wasted it in vain. Simply think about it. His immortality ability can completely endure the backlash of various forbidden techniques. No matter which one it is, in fact, the damage to Hidan can be almost completely zero. And that's it, using this body, he can completely practice some taboo ninjutsu. Immortality and forbidden technique are a perfect match. Now Gongyi also wants to study what kind of situation is in Hidan's body. It's not too bad for me to perfect this body. Not impossible to find a way for Hidan to remain immortal. After all, his immortality is not innate, but a successful product that belongs to the experiment. Gongyi is given enough time, he believes that he can be equally successful. Boom! A loud noise came from the front, and I saw Kamizuki Izumo and Gang Zitai immediately. Dodged away from both sides of Hidan. And corners of the shattered building walked out with the smoke and dust. It's unbelievable. A pair of eyes stared at Sarutobi Asuma. Zhao, both voices were a little surprised. Hidan, you rarely have a relationship with money. Oh. Hearing Coke. As soon as he said that, Hidan glanced at Sarutobi Asuma's waist, the piece that read, Fire. Triangle cloth. This mark. Hee, it turns out that it's the same as that. Monk, what kind of forbearance is it? Damn, Dilu really died in the hands of these two people. Sarutobi Asuma's face was gloomy, and the finger tiger ninja tools in both hands had already been taken out. Now he is full of murderous intent towards the two in front of him. Yes, it is indeed the 12 guardian ninjas. 1. Zhao, Duo strolled to Hidan's side, staring at Sarutobi Asuma in front of him and said lightly, his head is worth 35 million taels, this time it seems that our country of fire has not come in vain. Asuma, do we want to send a signal? Gang Zitai and Kamizuki Izumo, who have come to Sarutobi Asuma's side, looked at the corner of Hidan with bad expressions. Both said. Now such a thorny enemy, they know. I am afraid that only Hokage can solve it. Asuma teacher, we immediately notify Hokage. Nara Shikaku also came over and said with a pale face now. Knew it, Gongyi had left an indelible impression in their hearts. It seems that everything is powerful now, as long as Gongyi appears, then there is almost no problem. Ino and Choji, who were hidden in the dark, also had cold sweats on their faces, and they felt a little drum in their hearts. The current situation is very tense. The cold wind was blowing all around, and the atmosphere was very strange now. Zhao, don't interfere. When the enemy was identified, Hidan's face showed excitement. Now this blood-stained face showed a strange smile, which made people feel chills inside. She can see that on both sides of his waist, there are also ninja swords that completely penetrate his body. But at this moment, he didn't care at all, just continued, now the money is yours, and I want their bodies. Perform a ceremony and dedicate it to the evil god. Well, they're not like ordinary ninjas, but don't let your guard down. As soon as Hidan finished speaking, all nodded. He actually stepped aside as he spoke, and didn't even look at Sarutobi Asuma and the others. If you're boring, you should take it back, all. Hidan smiled unabated, raised his hand and waved the 3-stage scythe that was lying on the ground immediately. Take it back. He stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. It seemed that the few people in front of him made him feel enough pleasure. Chapter 587. The Price of Life. On the contrary, if they can kill me now, then it is still very exciting. Hidan said indifferently. He didn't care at all. At the same time, he stepped on the blood that he had dripped under his feet, and drew a yuhi-colored circle around his body, and inside was a triangular pattern. This guy with short silver hair, that is, Hidan, he does have an immortal body, and now this can't hurt him at all, so it proves that we routinely create physical damage, or routinely attack the heart, etc. is ineffective against him. And that horn covering half of his face, although he has not fully shown his strength, but from the attack just now, it can be seen that his strength is very strong, and according to Lord Hokage, he has 5 in terms of heart. It would be very difficult to really kill him 5 times. Nara Shikamaru inherited the traditional high IQ ability of the Nara family. At this moment, he was standing behind Sarutobi Asuma, quietly analyzing the 2 in front of him. Quick conclusion. These 2 Akatsuki members are difficult to deal with, and it seems almost impossible to actually kill them. The final outcome, most likely all of them, will pay with their lives. No wonder Akatsuki sent them to Konoha village to investigate. Nara Shikamaru's face is not good, and she already knew it in her heart. That is, because of their abilities, it is the best choice to come to Konoha village. After all, they are Konoha village, not like the rest of the ninja Omura. Now there is Gongyi in town, and there are many levels of powerful ninjas. Their Akatsuki are strong, yes, but Konoha village is not weak now. If they send the rest, it is very likely that they will die directly in the land of fire. But these 2 guys are different, they have tenacious vitality like monsters. Although there may be problems, but with this strange undead ability, you can also escape with the greatest chance. After all, at this level of ninjas, if they want to leave, it is difficult for anyone to keep them. Asuma-sensei, looks like it's time for us to send a signal. Nara Shikamaru through these analyses, he no longer hesitates, immediately. Again suggested, the best solution now is not our pointless dealings. Said that, Nara Shikamaru looked at Sarutobi Asuma and continued, I think it is the safest to inform Hokage-sama now, and then we are here to procrastinate. Well, Shikamaru, you're right. Sarutobi Asuma nodded, without denying it. But this time, he didn't need to clench his hands holding the finger tiger ninja tool, and looked at Hidan's corner unwillingly. Both of them said indifferently, but let's just give up now, get Lord Hokage. I will really unwilling, after all, they killed Asuma-sama, then let's try the previous tactics first. Kamizuki Izumo seemed to see what Sarutobi Asuma was thinking. He bit Kiba and said, That's right. Ziti nodded and agreed. Now that we know their information very well, it's a good idea to fight. It would be a bit inappropriate to call Lord Hokage just like this. I see. Silent for a while, Nara Shikamaru looked at Sarutobi Asuma's back, and his face slowly firmed. Then let's try it, Asuma teacher. The current Nara Shikamaru naturally knows that this time is indeed different. As Sarutobi Asuma's best friend was murdered, there is nothing like revenge now. Sarutobi Asuma is usually calm and natural, and is very thoughtful. What? Sarutobi Asuma didn't get carried away when he saw the 2 in front of him. He is still calculating, which is enough to prove that his own cultivation quality is very strong. Although he doesn't want to ask Gongyi for help now, Nara Shikamaru can understand. With Sarutobi Asuma for so long, he also knew what kind of person Akatsuki's own teacher was. Hehe, it looks like you're not going to ask for help. Standing at the back, Gongyi was far from their battlefield. It can only be seen roughly, but it is not a problem for Gongyi at all. The terrifying sense of consciousness spread, and all the troubles there could not escape his eyes. Gongyi could hear everything they said. Now on Sarutobi Asuma's side, Gongyi also knows Akatsuki completely about their affairs. The handsome face showed a faint smile. Gongyi was not in any hurry. He knew that even if Sarutobi Asuma wanted to hold on until he couldn't hold on anymore. But the rest, they won't continue to let him be this wayward. In this way, now I stand here quietly and simply watch it. Just this time, I can also take a good look at the side, this Hidan's immortal body. And in disguised form, you can also hone Sarutobi Asuma, as well as Ino Shikacho their combat power and character. Hard to come across a guy as powerful as Akatsuki if you want to meet him once. Therefore, Gongyi naturally gave them this opportunity. Take a good look at reality. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The shuriken made a sound of breaking through the air, and was thrown out by Kamizuki Izumo shaking his hand. And the ninja gear that Asuma held in both hands, its sharp blades began to glow blue. Has completely integrated his chakra power with the ninja tools. Power is even greater. At this moment, on the battlefield in front of Gongyi, the two sides are on the verge of fighting. At this moment, a few crisp sounds of hula appeared. Kamizuki Izumo's shuriken did not have any effect at all, and all of them were hit by the three-stage sickle in Hidan's hand. Look at the figure. At his feet, it must have some kind of function, so be careful. Nara Shikaku was behind him, and when he fixed his eyes on Hidan, he immediately reminded aloud. I'll go first. Sarutobi Asuma put his hands in front of him and made an appearance of attacking at any moment. Being carried away by hatred, he remained calm. At this moment, Sarutobi Asuma, when he was about to move forward, looked at Nara Shikamaru from the corner of his eye. Shikamaru, after I create his flaws in a while, you are going to use the shadow stitching technique to trap him. It only takes a while. Sarutobi Asuma stared at Hidan in front of him, and the chakra in his body burst out. Now he is not dead, but as long as his head is cut off, he can also be disabled, and this will also buy us time to call that name. Kakuzu members kill. Got it, Asuma-sensei. Chapter 588. I'll go with you. Me too. Kamizuki Izumo and Gang Ziti, when they saw that Sarutobi Asuma wanted to take the first shot, they also immediately ready to get started. You support me from behind. Sarutobi Asuma glanced at the two of them, and vetoed with a serious expression. Let's do this now, don't take too many meaningless adventures. Their current strength far exceeds that of us. Izumo, Ziti, while I am attracting his attention, you guys will continue to cover Shikamaru, and although that guy has no intention of shooting, Akatsuki's members are very weird, we still have to be careful. At this time, Sarutobi Asuma's figure gradually lowered, like a cheetah about to jump out. Since we know the opponent's ability, is it really good to take risks like this? Now we have only this option to try. Hearing Kamizuki Izumo's concern, Sarutobi Asuma stared at Hidan, and kept paying attention to the other corner. Even if we send a signal, it will take a while to wait for Hokage, so the best way is to touch first. Know their routines and talk about it. Sarutobi Asuma was not frightened by the abilities of the two of them, instead he showed a faint smile. The vanguard who broke through the enemy's line occasionally needs to do this. Seeing Sarutobi Asuma in front of him, he has made up his mind and seems to be willing to sacrifice. Nara Shikamaru's expression was not very good, and she couldn't help thinking to herself, one is an immortal body, and the other is a strong man with 5 hearts. If we don't notify Lord Hokage at present, this is indeed very bad for our form. Hello. Hidan looked at the people in front of him who were still whispering. and a trace of impatience appeared on his face. I said. Your battle meeting should be over. Bang, bang. Speaking, two crisp sounds appeared, and Hidan put the long sword of the ninja on the ground. Up. Sarutobi Asuma bit Kiba, kicked his feet forward, and charged towards Hidan. The finger tiger ninja tools clenched tightly in both hands. At this time, on their sharp blades, the azure blue light blooms even more vigorously. The chakra of the wind attribute is continuously injected into it, and its power is extremely terrifying. Shadow binding. Both hands stand. Sarutobi Asuma leaves. Shikamaru immediately. Half-kneeling here released a secret technique. Taian Kamizuki Azumo, on the other hand, looked at the corner not far away with alert faces. Both. Between the two sides has officially begun. Kang. Before getting close, the three-stage side in Hidan's hand has come to Sarutobi Asuma's eyes. His hands crossed in front of him, the sharp long blade of the sickle slammed into the finger tiger that blessed chakra. Oh, what a nice ninja tool. Hidan saw Sarutobi Asuma retreating with an ugly face, and the finger tiger in his hand had nothing to do, and couldn't help but praise. Swish. As soon as the voice fell, Hidan also immediately avoided, and immediately put the 3 paragraphs in his hand. Pulled back. Shikamaru's shadow binding technique, they turned into several black slender shadows on the ground, constantly coming towards Hidan's feet. Being touched by this thing, it's playable. The moment Hidan's whole body was in the air, his pair of purple yuhi-colored pupils stared down, thinking inwardly. He had already experienced Shikamaru's bizarre secret technique just now, and now it is impossible to try it again. Your battle plan is good. With a sneer on Hidan's face, he looked at Sarutobi Asuma in front of him and said coldly, but you can't succeed. With a swing of the long black rope in his hand, the 3-stage side was very flexible, and it moved towards Sarutobi Asuma in front of him again. Bad. Seeing that Hidan's offensive was fast, Sarutobi Asuma, who was standing here, frowned. Now he can't leave anymore. If he dodges, Shikamaru behind him will be hit. The thoughts in his mind were surging fast, and when the 3 sides were a few meters apart, he made a move. 5 fingers close together, one up and one down, like a monk reciting Buddha. This familiar movement is. Hidan and Zhao, both faces changed, thinking of the land of the Temple of Fire before. Oh, this ninjutsu is interesting. Standing behind the jungle, Gong Yi became interested when he saw Sarutobi Asuma's action. He knew that this ninjutsu came from the land. Of this ninjutsu analysis is that chakra forms Senju Guanyin and can be transformed into the anger of Mingwang, which belongs to the ability that can be used as absolute defense. You can also use chakra to form a fist to attack the enemy at high speed. Well, a super powerful secret technique that integrates offense and defense. Seeing it, Gong Yi couldn't even think of that super giant ninjutsu used by Senju Hashirama. Senpo, Sage Art Mokuden, Wood Style, Shinsasenju. This requires him to use Mokuden, Wood Style, after entering Sage mode. The huge Buddha statue made by Mokuden, Wood Style, also has countless arms, and its majestic body is like a mountain. Although I haven't obtained the secret art of Senju Hashirama now, but through the fusion of Sarutobi Asuma. Gong Yi suddenly had a small thought in his mind. Bang! The 3-stage side that Hidan threw out was thrown out again. In front of him, a golden arm appeared. Just 1 millimeter away, and he was about to be disemboweled. Ahead, behind Sarutobi Asuma, a golden Buddha statue appeared. With dozens of arms, it looks majestic and unbelievably blasphemous. To welcome Senju to kill. How about, the secret art of the land, let's try it again. Sarutobi Asuma smiled when he saw Hidan's bad face. That's right, I saw a Buddha statue in front of Sarutobi Asuma. Now what Gong Yi said is absolutely very accurate. This Buddhist secret is exactly what Dalu taught Sarutobi Asuma. Don't be complacent, bastard. The three-stage scythe in Hidan's hand was thrown out again in his hand at this time. The black long ropes linked, they kept flying around Hidan's body. In a short while, he kept swinging the three-stage scythe, trying to give Sarutobi Asuma a fatal blow. However, Sarutobi Asuma, his whole person is still very flexible, and it is difficult to succeed. On Hidan's side, he was not only targeting Sarutobi Asuma at this moment, but also defending the long black shadows under his feet at any time. The two of them worked together really well. Hidan scolded secretly, his hands kept moving, and he used the three scythes in front of him very freely. For a short while, Sarutobi Asuma was unable to get close to Hidan. Hehe, it looks like I need to use some special measures for you guys. Three of them entangled for a while, and Hidan's face suddenly showed a strange smile. Chapter 589. The Ritual of Sanction. The long black rope was connected to the three sections of the sickle, and it was thrown out again. Hidan followed behind, dodging Nara Shikamaru's shadow, his eyes fixed on Sarutobi Asuma. Again. Sarutobi Asuma bit Kiba, and the whole person dodged again and tried to take advantage of the gap, coming and going to control Hidan. Huh. Just as Sarutobi Asuma dodged, a sneer appeared on Hidan's face. Rolled over in the air, his wrist flicked, and the long black rope floating beside him suddenly changed its position. There's behind Shikamaru. Asshole. Hehe, let's get rid of the annoying little guy first. Hidan looked at Sarutobi Asuma and laughed sarcastically. You can't succeed. Sarutobi Asuma's expression changed, and he held the finger tiger ninja tool tightly in his hand. Killing towards Hidan, he has completely exposed his back to himself. At the same time, the terrifying consciousness spread around. Gongyi shook his head helplessly when he saw this. A look of disappointment on his face, he stared lightly in front of him and murmured to himself, such an excellent ninja who has experienced many battles, he didn't even know he was fooled. Now Gongyi can clearly understand the whole situation of the master. Seems that Shikamaru and Sarutobi Asuma, their tacit cooperation, has begun to control Hidan. But in fact, now, without knowing it, the two of Sarutobi Asuma were led away by Hidan's nose. Huh, sure enough. When Sarutobi Asuma was already rushing up, Hidan suddenly changed direction, the whole person immediately dodged into the air and turned back. The three-section scythe in his hand, which was connected to a long black rope, suddenly fired a carbine at this time, which caught Sarutobi Asuma by surprise. Asuma teacher. Nara Shikamaru this time, his eyes widened immediately. Drink. Everyone standing here, they did not expect that Hidan's target was actually Sarutobi Asuma, not himself. PFF'd. The sharp ray of the three-stage sickle slashed across Sarutobi Asuma's face at this moment. A blood seal of Yuhi, a gorilla, makes people feel shocking. Just a little bit, if Sarutobi Asuma didn't react, he would die at the hands of Hidan immediately. Since the combination of skills and precise single point is now so helpless. Sarutobi Asuma bit Kiba, no nonsense now, when Hidan was still there, when the air didn't hit the ground. He quickly hand-sealed with both hands, puffed out his mouth and spit forward. Kaden fire style, ashes and burns. Pieces of smoky gray clouds come out of his mouth. When Hidan stood back on top of the blood-colored pattern, his surroundings were already invisible, and he was completely shrouded in it. It's interesting. Looking at Sarutobi Asuma's ninjutsu, he licked the blood on the three-section sickle with his tongue. Boom, boom. As soon as his voice fell, the smoke and soot that Sarutobi Asuma had just exhaled exploded in an instant. There was a loud bang, shaking the whole earth a little, like an earthquake. And this majestic flame devoured Hidan's entire body in an instant. The huge flame was like a tsunami, and everyone quickly retreated to the back. And after it burns violently in an instant, it dissipates very quickly. Beginning to the end, Shikamaru suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. looked at the corner of the side. He didn't even react at all, instead he looked like it had nothing to do with him. Seemed that no matter what happened to Hidan in front of him, he felt indifferent. It feels very painful. Bang! A sarcastic laughter appeared. Sarutobi Asuma's face was filled with disbelief, and a finger tiger ninja in his hand fell to the ground. I saw him at this moment. The whole half of his body seemed to have just been burned by flames. The scalded scars were shocking to see. And Hidan, who had just been swallowed by the flames of Sarutobi Asuma, was half kneeling on the yuhi-colored pattern among. The whole person has completely changed his body. His previous complexion has become, the whole body is pitch black. And on his face, as well as on his arms, etc. Position, there are also white lines like bones. His state is extremely strange. Has it begun? Gong Yi looked at Hidan quietly, and he muttered to himself. For this state, it should be Hidan's curse secret technique. The death of the division is based on blood. Death by blood is a spell cast by Hidan on the body, known as the Tomb of the Curse, terrible chain damage. It needs the blood of the opponent as a medium to launch the blood of the opponent into its own body. When you get blood, you can enter the curse ceremony. That is, Hidan stands in the formation drawn with the blood of the opponent, and uses the weapon to hurt himself. It seems that it is Hidan's self-harm, but in fact, the object of his blood will suffer the same damage as Hidan. This is terrifying. Hidan is someone who can't die if his head is cut off, but a cursed one is. Undoubtedly, once someone is hit with the Hidan spell, there is basically no way to escape. Congratulations, you have been sanctioned. Hidan looked at Sarutobi Asuma with an ugly face, his face full of drama. Now Sarutobi Asuma and the others don't even know that Hidan has such abilities. Gong Yi before didn't tell them. What's going on? Nara Shikamaru's face was gloomy, and she looked at Sarutobi Asuma in front of her. How much can you feel the pain of others? Hidan, who had completely changed his form, slowly stood up. Don't be suspicious anymore, you've been cursed by me now. Putting down the hand covering his face, Hidan's entire face has been exposed in front of everyone's eyes. Come on and experience the best pain with me. Hair and black skin. And on his handsome face, white lines like skeletons crossed each other. Makes people look very heavy inside, like a monster. The white texture like a skeleton makes people look very uncomfortable. Is it some kind of secret technique? Sarutobi Asuma showed a tired look. It's just not long after the fight, and it has already begun to enter the passive. Now one of his eyes has begun to shrug and can only be forced open. Half of the body, there is an extra kind of pain after being burned, and it can no longer be used. No, fight. At this time, Sarutobi Asuma bit Kiba and put the finger tiger ninja tool in his hand in front of him. The terrifying futon wind-style chakra was injected more and completely became the appearance of a wind knife. Stepping forward, Sarutobi Asuma is completely unwilling to give up at all. Chapter 590, Walking 35 Million Tails. Come on, experience the pain with me. Seeing Sarutobi Asuma rushing towards Kiba, Hidan didn't do any dodging at all. The extra black long thorn in him has already been caught by him at this moment. Raise it. The next second, insert it into the leg immediately. As if the two of them were almost in sync, Sarutobi Asuma fell to the ground in pain. Of his thighs began to slowly show the eye-catching yuhi-colored blood. Exactly the same as Hidan's position at the moment. It hurts. The sneering smile on Hidan's face continued, and he slowly pulled out the long thorn in his leg. This is just the beginning, the point, it's not just that. As Hidan spoke, he seemed to be in a state of self-exaggeration, however. In fact, only this kind of pain is the best. The pain of others before they die has been engraved in my body. Beyond pain and finally transform into pleasurable pleasure. Our body Has it been connected to him through secret techniques? At this time, Sarutobi Asuma can now be vaguely guessed. Asuma-sensei has just been burnt by flames. Plus now both of them have leg injuries. Shikamaru was behind, cold sweat dripping down his face. His secret technique is very dangerous. Obviously, the damage he suffered will be returned to teacher Asuma. Shikamaru has already analyzed it. At this moment, Shikamaru showed a subtle movement. Neither side noticed, only Gong Yi could clearly perceive it here. Ask for help. Gong Yi secretly said with a smile. Now I have to say that Shikamaru understands the situation very well in the whole field. They have fallen into passive, and if they don't help them now, they are likely to be finished. Shikamaru is not afraid of death, but the current Sarutobi Asuma, his situation is not optimistic. Let's rush out now. Choji, who was hiding in the dark, couldn't bear to see Asuma like this. You wait a minute. Lying in the grass, Ino immediately. Choji back, didn't you see Shikamaru's gesture? He asked us to hurry up and ask for help. Yes. Now as long as Hokage-sama comes over, Asuma-sensei and the others will be relieved of their crisis. The two immediately quietly backed away, then dodged away from here. They need to get to a safe location, right away. To use the ninja pigeon to transmit information. Although they have something like a flare, but now the two of them don't dare to use it. That guy Hidan, he's still there, he has nothing to fear. But once some unexpected situation occurs, no one can guarantee whether they will make a quick decision. After all, there is a guy among them, but he has not yet shot. In order to maintain such a balance of the situation, choose immediately. Use the ninja pigeon for help. Now this is the most efficient situation. Damn, bring Mr. Asuma back. After a new round of competition, Shikamaru successfully controlled Hidan's body using the shadow binding technique he had just used. Just a matter of minutes before Sarutobi Asuma was pierced through the heart and died. Steel is fast, immediately. Back here with Sarutobi Asuma. Now that the situation is clear at a glance, they are a little bit overwhelmed. Now I've got Choji and Ino to call for help. We must hold on to the delay, I think Lord Hokage will arrive soon. Half kneeling at the end, Shikamaru whispered to the people in front of him. Hidan, the way you are now will greatly affect your efficiency. Zhao, at this time, I slowly frowned and walked over. Obviously, he couldn't wait a bit for the walking 35 million tails. And the current Sarutobi Asuma and others have a tendency to want to leave and run away. He didn't want to leave the high bounty in front of him, just leave in vain. Zhao, don't disturb me. Hidan bit Kiba, and his trembling body kept trying to break free from Shikamaru's shadow magic. You'd better take care of what you're talking about. Tentacle punch. Zhao, as soon as he finished speaking, he immediately raised his hands and pointed towards Nara Shikamaru and the others. Hula. The blackened hands were immediately separated from the limbs, and 5 black tentacles served as the final link. It can stretch infinitely, and it has reached hundreds of meters in the blink of an eye. Just 2 fists, but they made a sound of breaking through the air. At this moment, it can be imagined that if you are hit by this strange heavy punch, there will never be a good end. Get out of here. Everything happened in a flash of light. Dangjao, we have all decided to take action until now, but there is only time to breathe. Iron and steel here immediately. With the weak Asuma, use the telekinesis to leave. And Kamizuki Azumo, also immediately. Will still be. Shikamaru of Shishu interrupted, and also covered him from here. Only a fraction of a second before a loud bang was heard. The location where the 4 of them were just now was full of signs of shattering. Like a spider web, a striking crack appeared on it. Power is shocking. The 4 of them are all lucky, if they hadn't avoided it. 4 of them, there will definitely be one unfortunate death somewhere. Ah Kokaku, you actually disturbed my Matsuri shrine. Little bad, Hidan frantically looked at the corner, said both. Shut up and kill what they're talking about now. Zhao, he ignored Hidan at all, and kept looking at Asuma, who was evasive. He said coldly, it has been delayed like this. If they secretly called for reinforcements, we would be very passive. Isn't it okay? Hehe, the 5th generation of Hokage is coming, so we won't be troublesome anymore. Zhao, they seem to be a little afraid. He glanced at Hidan from the corner of his eye and said impatiently, that guy affects us a lot. Okay, let's kill this annoying guy first. Hidan shrugged and shook the long black thorn in his handshake. No, we seem to have escaped, Asuma-sensei's body is still with him. Seeing Hidan raise the long black thorn in his hand, Shikamaru's face changed greatly. And here in Sarutobi Asuma, cold sweat began to appear on his weak face. Now the corner, the position where they all face, where is the most vulnerable dead heart of everyone? If he pierces there, Asuma will be completely dead. He, come and say goodbye to everyone. Die. With Hidan's evil smile, everyone's powerlessness revolving heaven. Hidan, the long black thorn in his hand fell against the heart. Of course, at this time. A golden brilliance shines out. To see the ununderlined version of the novel, please download the latest chapter of Fei Lu Shaokan. Baidu search 99 Playmates find 99 Novel Network and LT, otherwise the collection IP will be banned, and GT. Chapter 591. It's good to be alive. At the critical moment, a golden light burst out. In an instant, the speed at which it erupted was unbelievable. The corner next to Hidan, he only felt a dazzling brilliance. Immediately after that, a bang appeared. The whole place was extremely silent. The noise that had been loud just now was suddenly all calm at this moment. Asuma was breathing hard, and he could still feel everything around him. Shikamaru, Kamizuki Izumo and the others all looked forward with extremely pale faces. Hidan, who was the center of all this just now, also showed surprise on his face. Hula breeze blew past, and the long black thorn in his hand that was only millimeters away from the heart actually collapsed with the wind. Turned into powder, as if it had never appeared before. What just happened? Hidan opened his mouth and watched as his hands became nothing. Just now, the only thing he felt was the golden light touched his long thorn. Then, I was forced to stop by ghosts and gods. This weird ninjutsu is a bit familiar, it seems bad. Zhao, he seems to have guessed something, and his eyes are looking at the jungle ahead. Ni is coming to my country of fire. I want to kill the ninjas of my Konoha village without saying hello. At this moment, in the corner, Du's voice just fell, and a cold laughter came. Everyone in astonishment followed the voice and looked over. A young man walked out in a light-hearted manner. On his handsome face, a pair of black eyes were deep. His long black hair was gathered back, and he was wearing Yuhi's large white robe. Everyone is just too familiar with this outfit. That is the imperial robe of the 5th Hokage. And this young man, he is Gong Yi, Lord Hokage. It's Hokage-sama. Lord Hokage, here he is. Seeing Gong Yi's appearance, Shikamaru and the others immediately turned on their faces. The blood was restored. The hanging hearts of each of them slowly let go when they saw Gong Yi. Who can make people feel terrified just by saying his name? This man who has suppressed the ninja world continent for an unknown period of time. The current Gong Yi has long been invincible in everyone's eyes. No one seems to be able to threaten him. Whichever is the Akatsuki members in front of me, whatever the management is a heavy missing nin. Then it is still impossible to pass Gong Yi's punishment. No matter whether you are a tailed beast or a cage-level ninja, all of them can only die with hatred. Matter if you are a shocking battle, some intrigues are completely useless. Everything will be completely disintegrated under Gong Yi's absolute power. Through the previous Various deeds, the members of Akatsuki are now a matter of pediatrics. They seem to have no effect on Gongyi at all. Fire. Lord Hokage. Now Sarutobi Asuma, he was completely relieved. He knew that he had just walked around the brink of death. If it wasn't for the golden light that Gongyi had just now, he should have gone to see his father. It seems that in the nick of time, it was Gongyi who saved himself. Ah, it's great to be alive. Anyway, Sarutobi Asuma, of course he didn't want to die like this. Now rescued by Gongyi, Sarutobi Asuma sat down weakly. 5 generations of Hokage. Seeing Gongyi's appearance, Hidan looked at him and murmured alone, "I saw this guy again." At this moment, Hidan's face could not tell whether it was excitement or fear. Hidan is no stranger to Gongyi in front of him. When Gongyi went to snatch Gaara, he stood on the fingers of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and saw him. So, now on the contrary, Hidan still knows a lot about Gongyi. Now the end of your time wasting is provoking this guy. Zhao, all eyes showed fear, and the whole person slowly tense. He was no longer the same as before, and he didn't care at all. Now for Gongyi, Zhao, all are constantly thinking in my mind. Gongyi, he just couldn't get to know him. Well, he probably knew Akatsuki Gongyi better than anyone else. 5-generation Hokage with the highest bounty in the black market. He wants to kill him in his dreams. If anyone can kill the man in front of him, the wealth he will get should be innumerable. No, it should be said that it is a number that countless people can't even imagine. With Hidan to kill Gongyi's current horn, there is no such thought in his mind. It is precisely because he knows Gongyi so well that he even thought about Gongyi carefully. Zhao, we all know clearly that even though Hidan and himself seem to have the ability of immortality, even if they really join forces, the possibility of defeating Gongyi is almost zero. The two of them have no chance of winning at all. Even if there are two beings who are exactly the same as the two of them, there is no chance of winning at all. Not the corner. I think too much, but these all belong to the result of his analysis. Even if there are 10 or 100 of them, if they want to kill the 5 generations of Hokage, it is unknown. What's more, now there are simply no 110 they will appear. Hey, this 5th generation Hokage is here. Slowly, Hidan, who is not afraid of death at all, licked his lips. If he is dedicated to the evil god, I think he can soar into the sky. What are you thinking? Hearing Hidan finished speaking, Zhao, all seemed to be looking at a fool, immediately said, "Let's get out of here first." Leave. Hidan is a little surprised now. The two of them have been together for so long, and he has never seen the corner. They will leave voluntarily, but now, after facing this 5th generation Hokage, he actually chooses to put his face down immediately. Exit, now we have other things to do. To see through Hidan's thoughts, Coke all made a random excuse and said, "We're wasting time with this guy, it doesn't make any sense at all." As a strong man, he naturally has dignity. Now, let alone Zhao, since he has lived for so long, he naturally doesn't like to be looked down upon. He didn't just say that to Hidan. In his own mind, he also thought so. It's not called escape. Well, this is just to prevent pointless waste of time. The two of Akatsuki, who come to my country of fire, are the guests. Well, since I'm here, then I will naturally treat each other with courtesy. The smile on Gongyi's face did not diminish as he looked at Zhao, Duo and Hidan said. Chapter 592. The man who fought with Hashirama first. It doesn't make any sense. Hearing the corner, after all said here, Hidan seemed to be laughing. I see you, this guy is obviously afraid. Shut up. Zhao, all look serious, immediately. Drink Hidan. Now watching Gongmei walking, he felt a sense of oppression. He hadn't felt this way for a long time. Pain, the leader of Akatsuki, he has never been like this. The sight of Gongyi in front of him made Hidan recall the previous. The same invincible man in the ninja continent. Senju Hashirama, but even though you were guests. But the Temple of Fire in the territory of our country of fire has been slaughtered by you. This is a serious crime. And now, you've deliberately murdered my Konoha village ninja. Gongyi's face with a playful color, he looked at the immortal duo in front of him, and his voice suddenly became cold and said, I'm sorry, I can only pronounce two. The death penalty. Om. A shocking chakra power suddenly erupted. They emerged from Gongyi's body and immediately rose into the sky. The whole surrounding can be clearly felt, which makes people feel the power of trembling. The corner that is still in memory, immediately came back to his senses. The 5th generation of Hokage has to say, you are indeed as powerful as the 1st generation. With his eyes fixed on Gongyi, he couldn't help but say, after I played against him, what I felt was the same feeling you are currently feeling. 1st generation. The 1st Hokage, Sama. The speaker has no intention, the listener has the heart. Sarutobi Asuma and others here, their faces are now immediately startled. He actually lived so long. Choji, who has come to Shikamaru's side, and Ino can't help but blurt out, how old is he, how could he have seen the 1st Hokage? No matter how you think about it, this news is shocking enough. After all, Senju Hashirama is the one who created the village of Konoha. It was the guy who pacified the ninja continent and divided up the tailed beasts at the same time. Of his age to survive. But now this corner, duo's words are revealed inside and out, between the lines. He actually played against Senju Hashirama. Does it feel the same as the 1st generation? Gongyi's face was indifferent, showing no surprise at all, as if he was not surprised at all. Immediately, it seemed to be sarcastic. If you say this now, I think what you call fighting is nothing more than throw a few shuriken in the ninja group. And a golden light dazzled Kokaku. When both and Hidan didn't react at all, Gung came to the two of them. If you want to say that I'm the same as the 1st generation, it's a big mistake. Get out of the way. When Gongyi raised his fist, Zhao stood upside down with hair on his body, immediately. Drink. Boom. An earth-shattering sound came out frantically, making people deafening, completely covering the corner. Du's exclamation. At this moment, Shikamaru and others quickly took Asuma away from the core of the battlefield. Along with the rumbling sound, the whole surrounding vibrated violently, as if the end was coming. Countless gravels flew horizontally and sputtered all around. The successive row of low-rise buildings also collapsed completely. In the position of a kilometer, and it hadn't been swept away for a long time. A group of people are here, they can't see their fingers, and they can't see what's going on around them at all. Lord Hokage is too strong. Choji's heart skipped a beat, recalling the scene just now. It was just the power of one punch that actually created such a movement. Therefore, in the heart of people, all thoughts are like Choji. 5 generations of Hokage, he is so scary that he completely transcends the category of ninjas. Soon, as the smoke slowly dissipated, the center of the battlefield, 3 black figures have appeared. It is Gongyi, and the corner, both Hidan. Zhao, don't show your ridiculous experience to shame. Corner of his mouth drew an arc, and Gongyi stood at the corner. Du said in front of his eyes, you must have a clear understanding of what happened at the beginning. Now corner, Gongyi has already heard about the matter in the original book. He wanted to hold such a thing to suppress himself, Gongyi didn't care at all. Other hand, Gongyi is still there now, use this thing to ridicule the corner, all. 4. The prophet like Gongyi, he knows all about Kakuzu. Well, according to the original book, Zhao, this became the encounter of missing Nin, and it does have a great relationship with the 1st generation. Think of the old corner. They are also the elite Jonin of Taki Ninja Village, and their status and strength in the village are also the same as today's Kakashi. But it is precisely because of this that they received an impossible task. The senior management of Taki Ninja Village seemed to have no clear mind, and actually sent the corner. They all went to assassinate Senju Hashirama. Who is Senju Hashirama? God. The man. This mission is impossible to complete, and in disguise, it is also a mission to kill Kakuzu. Pity, Konoha, I can't shirk at all, I can only bite the bullet and go out to Konoha. Unfortunately, he was eventually discovered by Senju Hashirama. Although the war between the two was not as unbearable as people complained about. But almost corners, both with Senju Hashirama, it should be just a face-to-face and he was defeated. He wasn't like what he is now, with all kinds of weird abilities added to him. If so, maybe I can fight Senju Hashirama for a while. Well, it was because he was so weak at that time that he almost died at the hands of Senju Hashirama. Senju Hashirama, who is kind-hearted, has good talent and is a responsible ninja, so he let him go. In this way, this generation has passed. Zhao, I guess they are all deceiving themselves. Because of his fight with Senju Hashirama, it was just kidding. Damn. At this time, Zhao Du's expressionless expression finally moved. Now he looks at Gong Yi, as if everything in himself has been seen through. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Even said that now he is under the illusion that the fifth generation of Hokage in front of him knows a lot of things in front of him. No, impossible, my heart immediately denied it. At his own time, his parents could not even have been born. How could it be possible to know so clearly? I said Zhao, now it seems that it is difficult for us to leave. Hidan, who was beside him, looked at the corner of silence. He shrugged and said. Exactly, so, then stay in my Konoha village. Gong Yi smiled faintly, he looked at Hidan like he was looking at a test object. Throwing the kunai of idiosyncratic forward. The art of Hiraishin is activated. To read the Chapter 593. The Undead Army. With the activation of Hiraishin, art, Gong Yi's figure arrived in the blink of an eye. Back. Looking at the characteristic kunai in front of him has come to the front corner, all pupils dilated and contracted. He didn't even have time to pay attention to Hidan, his whole body tense immediately. Blast back. Now Gong Yi's power is too strong. He doesn't dare to compete with him. Boom! The earth trembled violently, and the dense cracks around it spread even more. Hidan, who didn't have time to escape, was immediately pushed out by the air pressure that was agitated by this power. Fly away. Now Gong Yi's speed is too fast, so fast that it is too late for people to react. If it weren't for the corners, Gong Yi has been damned here, and is ready to leave. Just now, he may have turned into a mashed meat. Now corner, we all know that Gong Yi is targeting him, not Hidan next to him. Are you quick to respond? Withdrawing his arms, Gong Yi looked at the corner who had already retreated 100 meters away, both sneered. It seems that it is very difficult to leave today. The corner that covers half of his face, I can't see his expression clearly now. But from his pair of eyes at the moment, he can clearly see. He is very anxious. Obviously, he didn't want to go to Gong Yi to fight. After all, this guy, in Du's impression, is very difficult to deal with. By yourself will not have any advantage at all. On the contrary, I will really die. It hurts. A bang, Hidan climbed out of the rubble. Yuhi cloud robe he was wearing was extremely damaged. The whole person looked at Gong Yi in dismay. You bastard, it really is. Hidan, who is now nervous, is amazed by Gong Yi's power. But Hidan, with his immortality, was not as scared as a horn. They were all so afraid. He felt that no one could really kill him now. You talk too much. Gong Yi turned his head to the side and looked at Hidan indifferently. Seeing Gong Yi's appearance, Hidan also swallowed and suppressed the words he was about to blurt out. Then let's deal with you first. Yes. As soon as Gong Yi finished speaking, Hidan was shocked. Because he only felt a flower in front of him, Gong Yi had already given up the corner, all came to him in front of him. Raising his arm, the golden light in his hand bloomed. Damn bastard! Hidan bit Kiba, he immediately. Hold the 3-stage sickle in front of you. Now for Gong Yi, although he relied on his immortality, he did not show too much fear. However, it doesn't mean that he is just waiting for Gong Yi's attack. The shocking power of chakra was released in an instant. This is not the power that Gong Yi burst out, and now it's all just his normal state. Just like this, everyone felt an invisible pressure, which was carried on them one after another. Has he, as expected, been out of the category of ninjas? Outside the core battlefield, Sarutobi Asuma stared at Gong Yi in front of him. As he lived in an era with Gong Yi, his heart is now full of complexities. Beginning, the two even fought each other. Even relying on his identity, he didn't take Gong Yi seriously at all. Time flies, just dazzling. Now everything has changed completely. He became the 5th Hokage of Konoha village. And the strength can already suppress the entire ninja world. Looking back on myself, Sarutobi Asuma's face is more lonely. Obviously, the two can no longer be compared, because they are no longer on the same level. Sarutobi Asuma is already full of bitterness seeing Gong Yi's unending power. The lofty ambitions at the beginning have long since disappeared with the passage of time. At the same time, the blink of an eye, when Gong Yi has come to Hidan's eyes, the golden light in his hand is like a small sun, shining all around. Hidan, who was in front of him, couldn't even open his eyes. The slash of the golden escape sword. The words are over. Brilliant, immediately. Gather together. When everyone gathers a little, everyone can see that this dazzling light has become the shape of a long sword. It's just illusory, like a golden lightsaber of sanctions. Dazzling, can't, blasphemy. The moment it appeared, Gong Yi's arm moved and slammed down towards Hidan in front of him. Kaza, the crisp sound, in this quiet surroundings, is particularly harsh. The 3-segment scythe that Hidan held tightly in both hands was like tissue paper under the sharp blade of the golden lightsaber in Gong Yi's hand. When it touched it, the 3 scythes were divided into 2 halves. Afterwards, Hidan stared wide-eyed at the front of him, except the golden light had nothing else. Now Gong Yi's overwhelming and completely unstoppable power has put Hidan in a desperate situation. Just one hit. No, don't. When he felt the power of this radiance, Hidan's mouth widened, and he finally showed a look of horror. Although he is immortal, Gong Yi's power is enough to cut him into 2 pieces, completely making him lose all ability to move. Holding the lightsaber transformed from Jindun in his hand, a smile appeared on Gong Yi's handsome face. Hidan is right, Gong Yi is wanting to cut him completely into 2 pieces. As his own experiment, although Gong Yi has a way to completely destroy him, he will not do it. After all, Hidan's body is very special. Gong Yi wants to study it to see if it can be reproduced perfectly. Because he still has a bold idea. If you can really use Hidan's body to recreate his immortality, then you can train and brainwash a group of loyal ninjas to build an undead army. This case, in the battle after oneself, there will be unexpected effects. Of course, this kind of thing is only in the stage of conception. Everything still needs to wait until Hidan is caught, and then I will study it myself. Half a second of thoughts, Gong Yi returned to his eyes. The attacks that were swung down from his hand kept coming, and the moment he smashed the 3-stage scythe in Hidan's hand, the golden lightsaber in Gong Yi's hand had already come to his eyes. Falling down with one hand. It was too late to hear any screams from Hidan, only to see a vertical blood mark on his face. Hula, the whole person immediately, by Gong Yi and became 2 halves. Beginning, Hidan didn't even have a second chance to resist. Chapter 594. Signature Doden, Earth Style 3rd. The golden light shines everywhere. Along with this dazzling light, Hidan completely became two halves with a terrified face. Not over yet. Almost in an instant, Gong Yi's wrist moved, and the golden phantom lightsaber in his hand moved again. The sword beam with supreme power continued to swipe it as if it swept thousands of troops. Who was completely whole just now has been divided into 4 pieces and fell to the ground with a thud. It was just a face-to-face, it was only clear that Gong Yi just rushed over. Well, simple 3-3 movements. Step, raise your hand, and drop. The whole action is smooth, without the slightest delay. Looking at Gong Yi's indifferent expression, there was no change at all. Seems like solving Hidan is a normal thing to do with the flow. Hidan, he's still alive. Even in this state, if it were another person, it would have been cold. But Gong Yi can clearly perceive that Hidan still has a state of life. This immortal body is really an excellent ability to research and develop forbidden technique. Wave of his hand, the light dissipated, Gong Yi stepped over Hidan, who had become a piece of meat, and laughed. Really surprising enough that nothing happens in this situation. If it wasn't for Gong Yi's strong sense of consciousness, or he would have known about Hidan's ability long ago. Very possible that he'll really let him go like this. Well, after all, ordinary people would never have thought that people could survive after becoming like this. But unfortunately, Hidan is really like this pervert now. Off the field, many people are now sluggish here. They could never have imagined that the strength of the two sides would be so different. Just now, Sarutobi Asuma, who has a lot of thoughts, is even more depressed now. Can't tell if it's joy or a sense of inferiority. Forcing them to retreat steadily, and even almost killed his guy. It was solved so easily by Gong Yi. Even when it was close to them, they couldn't see what had just happened. Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino all looked shocked. They all know that Gong Yi is powerful, and they have all seen how terrible Gong Yi is. But now they can't accept such a gap. There before, fighting with it was very difficult, very passive. Now, it seems that the 5 generations of Hokage have no need to. The gap and unreality in this are difficult to reflect. Hidan, this guy. Zhao Du's face, he has almost frozen. What happened at this moment? Even he has reacted. Just now in his mind, the idea that he also joined Hidan to try to compete with Gong Yi was completely dispelled. He knew that what he had imagined before was completely incorrect. He still underestimated the 5 generations of Hokage in Konoha village. It's your turn. Looking down at the broken Hidan, Gong Yi slowly raised his head and swept towards the corner. Robe he was wearing moved, and a characteristic kunai fell from the wide long sleeves. Take it in the hand, towards the corner, both are thrown forward again. The art of Hiraishin, which surpasses 4 generations of Hokage, is simply unpredictable. Although he couldn't see Du's face, his heart started to feel bad. Now more, he appears to regret coming to the country of fire a little bit. A moment of when the characteristic kunai has come to his eyes, it has been replaced by Gong Yi. Advanced gravity, when Gong Yi appears, move towards the corner, all a little. The body is sinking. Zhao, both faces changed dramatically, and a pair of eyes stared at Gong Yi. The moment he was about to leave, his body suddenly couldn't move. Because he felt his body, suddenly it was as heavy as a mountain on his back. Doden, Earth Style, Sky-Shattering Palm. Just in the corner, all over here, still, terrifying body mutation at the same time, the earth trembled violently. One side a huge palm, rising from behind Gong Yi. Sky, the corners, above the head, it has become completely pitch black. He had a complex expression on his face, he didn't know how to express it, and he watched this huge majestic palm crash down. This is like when the palm of a giant appears, everyone around is also trembling in their hearts. Although they have experienced countless times, Gong Yi's signature Doden, Earth-style ninjutsu. Every time Gong Yi is used, each of them will always feel shocked. The sound of rumbling continued. It was just a huge palm, and the power it brought was terrifying. Du, who was restrained by the advanced gravity technique, he could no longer leave, and the huge sky-turning palm fell at the same time. Boom! The earth shook like a doomsday, causing Shikamaru and the others to fall to their feet. The deafening sound has spread tens of thousands of meters away. Countless gravels were flying around, and even the trees behind Kakuzu were wiped out instantly, and they were affected a lot. Just once is not enough. Looks like it needs a little more trouble. Dodging back, Gong Yi stood in front, looking at the large piece of smoke in front of him and muttering alone. Forget it, it's only 3 or 4 times anyway, that's all. Zhao, Gong Yi naturally understands Du's abilities. But he took the beating hearts of the ninjas and saved them, so as to prolong his life on the body. And through the meridians above the hearts of other ninjas, you can master the new chakra attributes. If I remember correctly, there should be a total of 5 hearts on his body. 5 chakra properties, such as thunder, wind, fire, earth, and water. Well, this also means that he can use the ninjutsu of these abilities at will, and at the same time, he can be revived 5 times. And simply killing him once was nothing more than destroying the activity of one of his hearts. The tyrannical sense of consciousness spreads, and the horns in the smoke. Although he is embarrassed, he is not dead. The heart that I destroyed just now belongs to that attribute. Gong Yi can clearly know Akatsuki. He now has 4 beating hearts in his body. I really didn't expect it. It's so easy to die once. Walking out of the thick smoke and dust, Du was completely embarrassed. Akatsuki robe on his body was completely gone, replaced by a black combat uniform. Although it's just Gong Yi's most normal Doden, Earth-style ninjutsu just now, but Zhao has already died once. I have to say that even if he is careful, it is impossible to resist Gong Yi's countless secret techniques. Chapter 595. Kakuzu's death is like returning home. Although now with the passage of time, there is a lot of intelligence about Gong Yi. Ninja villages in other big countries even have dedicated people and teams to study Gong Yi. In the entire ninja world, I don't know how many people want to find Gong Yi's weakness through certain battles. And in the entire black market, there is a continuous flow of information belonging to Gong Yi, almost endless. His ninjutsu, his abilities, everything he masters. But, despite that, now there is no one person who can truly say and fully understand Gong Yi. Because of his shot, it was simply too elusive, and I felt a little surprised. The secret techniques he masters are too many. Many people, it is really impossible to even estimate. Of course, just relying on what I saw on the battlefield is just the tip of the iceberg. Well, it's like the current corner. It's all like this. You can see Gong Yi using this secret technique that is not spread in the ninja continent. He can indeed be included in his own information, but it has no effect at all. Because no one can take them out, because they will all die in the hands of Gong Yi now. I can't tell if it's bitterness or something else. Zhao, after they all walked out, he quietly looked at Gong Yi in front of him. The wind blows gently. Gong Yi's face was still the same. Since this is the case now, it seems that I can only do my best. After all, he is a ninja with a lot of battle experience. Zhao, I have already thought about this, and I have already got the answer. Now that he has lived for so long, how could he not even see the situation in front of him clearly? If Hidan was still around, maybe I could use him and come and go by myself. This time, I can clearly know that the 5 generations of Hokage in Konoha village are in front of me. It's very likely that his goal is from the very beginning. It's definitely himself. Then on Hidan's side, when he was completely out of combat power, he simply avoided and chose to escape. The end, it is very likely that death is directly meaningless here. PFF'd. PFF'd. Thinking of this, Zhao, he has already begun to prepare to resist with all his strength. He bent down slightly, and the top of his back began to surge wildly. It can be seen that his body has continued to expand, and the black lines sewn on his body have begun to break. His back, 444 masks can be seen sewn on. Except, one of them was broken, the other three kept moving. Seems that behind the mask, there is a statue that constantly wants to climb out of it. Boom. Until the last second, three huge blacks appeared. They looked strange and were standing quietly behind. One of them has an oval body with longer arms and a green face pattern. The other has a tall and broad body, a yellow nose, and a mask like a ghost. The last round body, with yuhi-colored lips, is also a bit weird. Sweden, water style, water curtain. Raiden, thunder style, false darkness. Take out this death-defying situation. Corner, all nonsense immediately. Both hands hand seal. Clap Lala. One of the mask monsters opened their mouths, and a stream of water poured out, surging like a small tsunami towards Gong Yi and going. It's not over. It's not over. The other mask monster was almost synchronized, and it spit out a piece of thunder and lightning from its mouth, and slammed into it along the flow of water. The monstrous Wangyang water has already danced with blue lightning flashes. Zhao, as soon as they made a move, they showed no mercy, and immediately cooperated with each other to create a composite ninjutsu. This guy is also very strong. He is not as strong as we realize. Shikamaru watched the violent water and the roar of Raiden, thunder style, and said with a lingering fear in his heart, in addition to powerful strength, he can also use such a tyrannical ninjutsu. Fortunately, Lord Hokage is here, otherwise it would be very difficult for us to leave alive today. Kamizuki Izumo nodded, looking at the surrounding area that had changed color in front of him. He couldn't help but sigh and sigh. Everyone present was overwhelmed by Kakuzu's true strength. But unfortunately, Zhao, the more powerful they are, the more they set off Gong Yi. A pair of deep eyes, like a bottomless abyss at the moment, people can't help feeling being sucked into. Although the ninjutsu in front was very powerful, Gong Yi's face still didn't show the slightest discoloration. Cloudless, and it was very calm. The next second, Gong Yi hand sealed with both hands. A massive chakra burst out in his body in an instant. Kaden, fire style, majestic destroyer flame, great fire annihilation. Pulls out his mouth and spit forward. A piece of scorching flames, they immediately burst out fiercely. At this moment, the air was like a calm pool, and suddenly endless ripples began to appear. A terrifying flame, they rippling in an instant, seems to be burning the surrounding space and collapsing. Air was so distorted that Shikamaru and the others, who were thousands of away, could feel the heat. The flames transformed from a large number of chakras instantly turned into a wall of fire when they appeared. Immediately afterwards, they began to spread infinitely, with a range of hundreds of meters. Everything seems to be slow, but in fact it's a lightning bolt. An instant, Kakuro, the combined ninjutsu of Raiden, thunder style, and Suiten, water style, here in the capital has come with a monstrous momentum. But now in this comparison, everyone looks at the Kaden, fire style, made by Gong Yi, which is completely better than the corner, Du's composite Suiten, water style, ninjutsu. The water flow of dozens of meters, it is in front of the fire curtain of hundreds of meters. It seems to be insignificant, and there is no stance to contend with. The flames formed into pieces. At this moment, they began to madly press down towards the bottom. A screeching sound kept appearing, and these streams of water were completely being evaporated. The white mist that turned into steam is now floating around, and even those thunder and lightning are also on the verge of extinction in an instant. Just a Kaden, fire style, ninjutsu, it is completely different in Gong Yi's hands and released by his chakra. The spectacular scene makes people seem to forget everything, and all they can only sigh in their hearts. Damn the 5 generations of Hokage. The corner behind him. All stared at him, he could only watch all this powerlessly at the moment. Now his face was illuminated by the flames blowing in front of Yuhi. It was his powerful Suiten water-style composite ninjutsu just around, but he still couldn't resist Gong Yi's fire. It is almost a situation of forced suppression, and the entire piece of Suiten water-style has been completely reduced to nothingness. Zhao, in front of them all, Gong Yi's terrifying sea of flames. Chapter 596 Beyond the category of ninjutsu. When this flame, they devoured the horns in an instant. After all, he has lost a heart again. When Dang Zhao Du appeared embarrassed for the second time, his body was already charred black. Now I can't see what he looks like. There was a crisp sound. Zhao, behind him, that chubby body, the mask monster with Yuhi-colored lips has been shattered and useless. The two have only fought twice, and now the corners have 5 hearts, 2 of which have been destroyed. His face was extremely ugly, and even looking at Gong Yi felt powerless revolving heaven. I don't believe it anymore. Since that's the case, then you should try this. Seeing that Gong Yi has come again, Zhao, it's too late to think about it. Quickly hand seal with both hands. The only 2 mask monsters left behind opened their mouths. Suiten water style, big water blasting. Raiden thunder style, ground walking technique. Doden earth style, earth and rock flow. Breathing time, horns. They have already released 3 ninjutsu desperately this time. 2 masked monsters behind him spit out a stream of water and lightning again from their mouths. And Zhao, this time, both hands are facing the ground. The earth that should have been solid in front of them, they immediately shattered into countless fine sands, and then began to erode away towards Gong Yi, who was walking in front of him. Is not over yet. This time before the stream of water ceased, it was even more tyrannical and turbulent at the moment. The thunder and lightning on it kept crackling, completely covering the entire huge water flow. Of triple ninjutsu has long been stronger than before, I don't know how many times. It was not afraid at all, and it swept and roared towards Gong Yi at this moment. The quicksand of the earth, the water flow above, the lightning in it. This makes it very difficult for ordinary people. Although it seems to be an ordinary ninjutsu, it is also not weak when used in the hands of Kaku, too. In addition, these 3 ninjutsu are completely integrated and used by Kakuzu as a large ninjutsu. The crowd gasped. Still haven't recovered from Gong Yi, this domineering unreasonable Kaden, fire style. Shikamaru and the others saw each other, and now Kaku, Tatsu's ninjutsu is also more ferocious. Their hearts are beating. These ninjutsu, if not aimed at Gong Yi but it's Sarutobi Asuma and them. That it is difficult for oneself and others to be able to defend perfectly. Even if he didn't die, but he was hit by this ninjutsu, it was enough to lose his fighting ability. Sarutobi Asuma frowned, sweating for Gong Yi now. That is really him. If he becomes another person, maybe he will go to great lengths to deal with the corner. After all, it may be easy to kill him once, but the second, the third, the fourth. It's enough to drive him crazy. But Gong Yi, he is different. The two just met each other, and at this moment, there were only 3 hearts left. It's time to end. Gong Yi, who had already stepped forward, showed endless killing intent in the middle of the pair. Although it is only half an hour away now, it is obvious that Gong Yi is going to delay the time. If you keep going like this, you will have less time. The 4th Ninja World War is about to start. If you waste a little more time, it will be a loss for Gong Yi. The current Ten-Tails Jinchuriki column force, and the future deployment plan, have not yet been completed. He and Zhao, they are both here, and they are constantly fighting ninjutsu, which is actually boring enough for Gong Yi. Because he can't exercise anymore, Zhao, both. Still too weak. Thoughts came. Gong Yi the next moment, reached out and grabbed, sword come. Om. The golden brilliance of the sky descends. after this violent and incomparable ray descends. Front of you that was covered in darkness by the water curtain, all at once collapse. Their bodies are reflected in a golden color. At this moment, Gong Yi's hand seems to be holding a small sun, making people unable to see what it is. They haven't found anything except knowing that this is Gong Yi's Keke Genke. The buzzing sound kept appearing. This is the roar of the burst of power. Of illusory light, Gong Yi has already held it when it emerges. Everyone was completely stunned, only to see a huge long sword in his hand. 100 meters long, but it was held by Gong Yi. This extremely discordant picture made people gasp in surprise. Even Zhao Du, when he looked at the light above the water curtain, his heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Cut me down. Gong Yi's face not changing his color, he waved his sword-holding hand down. Boom! The power of a sword shakes the world. Gong Yi's golden escape power is already beyond the scope of ninjutsu. Its power has climbed to an ultimate. The golden sword glow fell, it collided with the quicksand Sweden, water-style, rushing forward. Rumbling, evenly matched, or the picture of canceling each other did not appear. Gong Yi's golden sword glow, it instantly cuts through the entire water curtain and quicksand. That is, the thunder and lightning on it, the same thing, was completely extinguished in an instant. Terrifying power fluctuations suddenly erupted, and the entire water curtain and quicksand were completely divided into two. Immediately, they started to separate to the sides. Not only that, but now the entire land below them has even begun to rumble and a big pit is shaken by this pressure, forming a gap. This rainbow-like power completely disintegrated Kaku-Du's triple compound large-scale ninjutsu. The cut ninjutsu, the passage it exposes, the horns, all can see Gong Yi in front. This is impossible. Zhao, I couldn't believe it even if I was beaten to death. Now I don't even have the ability to resist. From the beginning to now, I have been in a very passive state. Dodged. The exaggerated sword glow in Gong Yi's hand collapsed, and the infinite shrinking became a normal state. Holding hands tightly, Gong Yi has come to Zhao Du in front of him. He will not pay attention to Zhao Du. What kind of mood is it now? His goal today is to kill him completely. Next moment, Gong Yi had already stepped out of the separated water curtain and quicksand, and descended directly to Zhao Du's eyes. Swish! Jin Dun's supreme might erupted continuously. Swipe down, the horn, they can't respond at all, that is, a heart is broken again. It's not over yet, Gong Yi didn't talk nonsense with him at all. Turned over and swung the sword again, and once again a heart was damaged. Only the last time left, Zhao, he really panicked. A pair of eyes already showed a look full of fear. That peaceful appearance has completely disappeared. But, in his mind, the moment when the thought of wanting to escape appeared, he could no longer think about it. I only felt that my heart was cold at the end, and Zhao Du's face was full of dead silence. He is already powerless to revolving heaven. Didn't even think about it. I have lived for so long, but today ended tragically in this way. Zhao, all dead. Please download Filu Shaokan latest chapter to read the novel without underline. Chapter 597. PFF. The long sword that Jin Dun transformed into in Gong Yi's hand has disappeared in an instant, turning into a golden light spot of stars. And Zhao Du, he suddenly fell to the ground with an unwilling look on his face. The exuberant vitality before has disappeared. He was completely dead cold. All is over. Dust to dust, dust to dust. Sarutobi Asuma saw this, and his face showed a moving expression. Earthland. Lord Hokage has avenged you, and the monks of the Temple of Fire. The anger that had been suppressed in his heart before has disappeared with the death of Zhao Du. Sarutobi Asuma's whole body was tense, and it was immediately. This breath was relieved. Immediately, so did he. His eyes darkened and he fainted. Asuma teacher. Captain Asuma. At this time, still, Shikamaru and the others, who were shocked, immediately came back to their senses. They were pale and looked at Sarutobi Asuma, who was already unconscious. He's fine. Although he suffered a lot of injuries, it's not life-threatening. A gentle voice came, and everyone saw that Gongyi had come before their eyes. Gongyi, who is wearing a Hokage royal robe and looks extremely beautiful, everyone seems to have found the backbone. Without any pretense at all, Gongyi's appearance at the moment is completely different from the icy state he was in before. He squatted down on one knee, his hands glowing green, and he simply healed Asuma. Asuma's vitality is strong, and there is no weakening. Now his fainting was just caused by the excessive bleeding in his legs before. Well, and the burns on this half, they're starting to explode too. Didn't pay attention when he was infused with energy before, but now that everything is over, Asuma naturally can't hold on. Out his medical talisman and simply sticking it on the wound, Gongyi looked at Shikamaru and said, "Go and send Asuma back to the village for treatment. I will send someone here to clean it up." "Ming, I understand Hokage-sama." Shikamaru nodded and said with an excited face. Now for Gongyi, Shikamaru can be said to be extremely worshipped. Especially when something like this happened today, Shikamaru even more so. Not only him, Gangzi Tai, Kamizuki Izumo, Choji Ino and others are also like this. This huge and strong contrast made several people invisibly admire Gongyi even more. "Well, let's go." Gongyi smiled and nodded back. Looking at their appearance now, Gongyi knows that the goal has been achieved. Sarutobi Asuma here, when he wakes up and knows this. After that, he will naturally change his view of himself even more. At the same time, he personally came to save him today, and he will never forget Sarutobi Asuma. As for this new generation of Ino Shikacho, he is also seated in his heart. Even Shikamaru, who is smart and thoughtful, is still a child after all. Even before he has grown up, he is still very good at guiding him. Just like today, Shikamaru did not know that he was already influenced by Gongyi's will. Soon, several people left quickly. Gongyi came to Hidan again. The current Hidan, which belongs to the part of his head, his eyes are still blinking. Although he can no longer speak, he has been watching the fight between Gongyi and Zhao Du just now. It can be said to see. It is clear. Even though it was Hidan, now his heart was cold and he didn't dare to peel it again. He was even thinking that if he could get away with it this time, he would never come to the country of fire. "Hehe, I know you're still alive." Gongyi lowered his head and looked at Hidan, who was pretending to be dead, with a sneer on his face. "After all, a guy who can't die even if his head is cut off, I'm just like this to you. It hurts a little bit. Just a little bit." Hidan. Hearing Gongyi's words, Hidan wanted to curse in his heart. While he was terrifying Gongyi, he actually knew himself so well. Hidan is also complaining, "Does it hurt a little bit?" He has been completely dismembered by Gongyi, Master Hokage. At this time, while Hidan was still scolding secretly in his heart, a team of one Anbu wearing a ninja combat uniform and an anemo mask on his face flashed forward. The leader is Kimimaro, and the members who follow him are all loyal to Gongyi. "Kimimaro, seal this guy for me and bring it back." Gongyi looked at Kimimaro and said lightly, "As for the rest, I'll leave it to you." "I see, Lord Hokage." When Kimimaro heard this, he nodded. Well. When Gongyi finished speaking, he activated the Hiraishin technique to dodge and leave. Inside Hokage's office. A few breaths, Gongyi had already traversed an unknown number of miles and returned to this side. I saw Shikamaru at the moment, with a worried look on his face, still, looking at the documents on the small table next to him. When Gongyi usually leaves, Shikamaru will all work here. How, still, worry about Shikamaru. Lord Hokage, you, read back. A voice suddenly appeared, startling Nara Shikamaru. When he just looked up, he found Gongyi standing here with a smile on his face. Well, everything is done, your kid is doing well. Gongyi nodded and sat back on the large chair. Well. Nara Shikaku's face changed, and the whole person was a little stunned. Gongyi seems to have been fighting with Hidan for a long time, but in fact Nara Shikamaru has just finished reviewing a few documents. Hokage-sama, did you find the members from Akatsuki's side? Hearing Gongyi's appreciation of Shikamaru, as a father, Nara Shikaku is naturally happy. However, now he was a little confused about what was going on there. It has been found, and the Asuma team has fought them head-on before. Head to the side, looking at Nara Shikamaru, he said, when I went over, I just received a request for help from them. Where is it really? Nara Shikaku had a lingering fear in her heart, and said happily, fortunately, Lord Hokage, you passed by, otherwise Asuma and the others would have. Hearing Gongyi's simple words, Nara Shikaku now knows that it was really just a guess. Of course, seeing Gongyi coming back so quickly now, Nara Shikaku didn't think too much. He completely thought it was an Akatsuki member, and it should have been immediately after seeing Gongyi's appearance. Escaped using a secret technique. Thinking of this, Nara Shikaku also continued to ask, since you have passed by Hokage-sama, the two Akatsuki members, I don't think they will stay in the country of fire now, do you want to stop the search now? Chapter 598. Akatsuki's restricted area. Well, stop. Hearing Nara Shikaku finish, Gongyi nodded. Now that the whole thing has been settled, there is no point in wasting resources like this. It's over. This, Nara Shikaku's face showed a look of surprise. That's right, now I've asked Anbu to bring back the bodies of the two Akatsuki members. Nara Shikamaru was speechless for a moment. His voice seemed to be stuck, and he couldn't say anything. That's how long it took me to just review a few documents. Now that Gongyi is back, he actually told himself. Akatsuki members all stared at the current Gongyi, and Nara Shikaku was confused. Obviously, Gongyi's strength now has refreshed his inner boundaries again. Lord Hokage, you already have all. Moment of silence, Nara Shikaku also sighed. I can't believe that even the members of Akatsuki can do it so easily. Their strength is not that strong. Gongyi shook his head and smiled, with a playful look on his face. It's just that the current ninja continent is too weak, so it's just a contrast to each other. Nodding, Nara Shikaku didn't say more. Now he naturally knows that it is not because the ninja world continent is too weak. It's Gongyi. He's too strong. In this state of things, Nara Shikaku feels a lot of peace of mind. 5 generations of Hokage around, at least Konoha village won't be as embarrassed as the rest of the big villages. Okay, Shikamaru and the others are coming back, you go and make arrangements, Shikaku-sensei. Good. Nara Shikaku nodded happily, got up and walked out. Now Shikamaru is there, although Shikaku admits he is good enough. But as a father, he is naturally very concerned now. After all, the opponent is now a member of Akatsuki. Of course, Gongyi has now come back and told him these things. Nara Shikaku slowly calmed down and didn't think about it anymore. Time is dazzling, it's just a day's scene. According to Gongyi's impetus behind the scenes, the ninja continent has begun to continue. Akatsuki's undead duo, that tough corner, both and Hidan died in the country of fire, everyone knows. 5th generation Hokage Gongyi personally took action and completely eliminated it, which has been completely confirmed by the spies of the ninja villages of various big countries. All of this is true. It can be seen that the location that was destroyed by Gongyi himself is now under renovation. But it's still shocking, and people can't help but know that now. The 5th generation of Hokage, his strength is much stronger. After all, the members of Akatsuki, their strength, now every ninja village is well aware of it. Especially this role, both with Hidan, the duo known as the Undead Duo, is very uncomfortable. The Jinchuriki column force of the two-tailed people in Kumogakure village is exactly what they captured. Their strength has been classified as a very dangerous level. But when this matter spread, all the ninja Omura actually became more afraid of Gong Yi in disguise. At the same time, most of them are also in awe of Konoha village. After all, here in Sunagakure village, after discussing with Gong Yi on Gaara's side, an official new alliance has been announced. Don't even think about it, now here in Sunagakure village, they have been invisibly controlled by Konoha village. As for Kurigakure village, although they did not move, there is no doubt that Konoha village is enough to contain them. All of a sudden, 2 of the 5 major ninja villages are now approaching Konoha village. Who understands the whole situation without words can already see it. Especially recently, and now what's going on here in Akatsuki, they continue to provoke Ninja Omura's behavior. No one could do anything with them, but Kumogakure village was robbed of the tail beast, and Sunagakure village was also robbed of the tail beast. They couldn't resist, and now all the people are panicking, and countless ninja powers have begun to be recalled. They are all damming up Akatsuki's conspiracy, they want to snatch the tailed beast, and everyone already knows it's true. What happened in Kumogakure and Sunagakure villages was like a wake-up call that completely alerted everyone. After all, in this state, they all know that the tailed beast is the ultimate weapon of the ninja continent. And their Akatsuki and missing nin forces, since they want to plot this thing, undoubtedly want to encroach on the ninja continent. All of a sudden, Gaara's previous suggestion has unconsciously begun to make people have to think about it. The village of Konoha now, they felt that it would be safer if they joined. Especially here in the Kumogakure village where they have been entangled, they are. Even more so. Now that Akatsuki is so weird, they can't really send troops to look for it. Besides, it's been so long, and the Jinchuriki column power of the 2-tailed people may have been more fortunate than good fortune. And now, although the 8 tails got the news that they were resurrected, they didn't find it at all. Don't say it's them, everyone in the entire ninja continent is like this. So in the end, I had to come to the conclusion that the 8-tailed bull ghost is likely to have been captured by Akatsuki halfway. Recently, the atmosphere in the ninja continent has begun to be extremely tense. Akatsuki is like a sharp long blade, threatening them all the time. Today, Gong Yi killed the members of Akatsuki again, and actually promoted their Konoha village in disguise. This is the situation, and some ninja villages that have already started have been shaken. The first and foremost is Kumogakure village, who have no tailed beasts, and their ninja strength is beginning to be insufficient. Had to start considering Sunagakure village's suggestion and started to join forces with Konoha village to resist Akatsuki together. Well, here in Kurigakure village and Iwagakure village, although they are comfortable, they have to think about it. Terumi Mei is not stupid, Onoki is not stupid either, the situation in front of him is very clear. Konoha village around, at least Gong Yi's move can stun Akatsuki. This time, Gong Yi's purpose is obvious, but everyone has to admit it. Akatsuki's exclusion zone, indeed, begins here in the village of Konoha. Not only these, the big villages, some small ninja villages have begun to enter the closed village state. Although they do not have tailed beasts, they also understand the truth of harming Chiyu. Those villages in the ninja continent have problems, and they don't think about it. Rather, they are likely to be the first cannon fodder to be hit. Chapter 599. Recruitment of new members. Rain was pouring down. They are not big, but they are dense. Thick dark clouds cover the sky, the gloomy and damp Omegakure village. Hulula raindrops keep hitting these towering buildings. The turbulent streams of water kept flowing out of the pipes around them. Hidan was taken away and sealed, Horn, all dead. On the tallest building in the center, Conan looked at Pain, who was sitting there in front of him. Are there any investigation documents sent out? The rain was still falling. Sitting on the platform without any shelter, Pain let the drizzle pour on his body. He had a look of indifference at the moment, and when he heard Conan finish saying this, he was hardly moved at all. Pair of renegades, they were just looking at the towering Omegakure village buildings in front of them. No documents were sent. Coming behind Pain, Conan shook his head and responded, now because it's the 5th generation of Hokage, they don't have the ability to resist at all. Now the 5 generations of Hokage in Konoha village seem to have had a big impact on our plans. Conan's expression was not very good, and he continued to look at Pain in front of him. He's just an arrogant and stupid human being. The anger in his imagination did not appear, and Pain sneered a little sarcastically. The reason why I didn't delay now is that I just want to finish the rest of the village. But in this case, it seems that we have to start to deal with him first. Pain said and stood up, raising his arms, quietly feeling the drizzle from the sky falling on his palms. Things are always sudden, and reasons are added later. Now that I have this reason, I have to do it myself. It's a little dangerous over there in Konoha village, we've been there once before. Hearing Pain finish speaking, Conan walked up to him and said worriedly, now if you go over in person again, will it be in any danger? There's always someone doing this sort of thing. Pain turned his head and looked at Conan, his indifferent face softened a lot. Now the 5th generation of Hokage, he can't threaten me, for God, killing him is just a fairly simple punishment. I can also recycle EPUB, 9 tails, along the way. Slowly lowering his arms, Pain turned around and walked into the building. His eyes, at this moment, there are 5 black coffin-like things. Where to place it quietly, so that people who see them are a little timid enough. I see. Seeing Pain's appearance, Conan didn't go any further. Who grew up with Nagato, also knows very well. Now that Nagato has made a decision, it cannot be easily changed. In other words, it cannot be denied at all. Oh yes, the tailed beast has entered now. Pain turned his head and asked the thoughtful Conan. It's going well now. His senses, Conan replied, now at Iwagakure's 5 tails, Itachi and Faye are about to strike. As for the other tailed beasts, we have no manpower for the time being. Now Corner, both died with Hidan, it did have an impact on our plans. Hearing this, Pain Heavenly Path didn't show any expression now, but said slowly, but it's not a problem now, I can catch the rest of the tailed beasts first, and then deal with the problems at Konoha village. After all, now 1 tail, 2 tails, and 8 tails, we have all recovered. And it's basically no problem to have Itachi in the 5 tails. As for the 3 tails, 4 tails, and 6 tails, there is nothing to worry about. Pain Heavenly Path said, suddenly smiled coldly, and said again, this time it seems to be back to the original point. Currently only EPUB, 9 tails, in Konoha village, he is very likely to become an obstacle for us. That's fine. Now EPUB, 9 tails, is the last one, and it's not too late for us to start. Conan nodded and responded. Well, that's the only way it can be. Pain's face was expressionless, and he didn't change at all. He continued coldly, of course, the recruitment of new members seems to be indispensable. The darkness is gradually coming, and it will completely replace the day. Soon, the thick inkstone in the night seemed to be difficult to dissolve. At the end of the day, Gong Yi has returned to the palace. Just dodging to the door, Gong Yi saw a small black snake appear in front of him. It spit out a snake letter and walked towards Gong Yi. It can be seen from the patterns on its body that it is not an ordinary wild snake. A psychic snake from Ryochi Cave. Is there something wrong with Sasuke? Seeing it appear, Gong Yi naturally knew. This psychic snake was used by him and Sasuke to pass messages. Bang! For a moment, when the black psychic snake turned into smoke, Gong Yi's face showed enlightenment. It turned out to be that guy from Orochimaru, so it looks like he can't wait. The message just passed was very short, almost a short sentence. Put it simply, Orochimaru's side is already ready to move, and it seems that they want to use the undead reincarnation. As expected, Orochimaru cooperated with Kabuto to secretly improve reincarnation because of his own stimulation. Not reincarnated, this can almost be classified as a first-class forbidden technique. It can transfer its own spirit into the so-called container that others can say is the body, so as to obtain the ninjutsu of eternal life, that is, immortality. Sounds good, but if you use it once, it has to wait 3 years before you can continue to use it. And Orochimaru was used once before Sasuke was taken away. In this way, if you want to use undead reincarnation again, it will take 3 years. But now, when Sasuke passed the news to him, Gong Yi could clearly know. Orochimaru must have passed some possibility, and should shorten the time of the forbidden technique of not reincarnating. Can't help but rejoice. Fortunately, I told Sasuke at the beginning, don't completely think that the period of not reincarnating is 3 years. Because Gong Yi has long thought that many things have long been deviated from the original work because of his appearance. If Sasuke is still there, foolishly think so, then when Orochimaru really shortens the deadline, it is likely to surprise Sasuke. This is a very bad consequence, and it is very likely that my plan will fall short. Now that Gong Yi has nurtured Sasuke for so long, it's not. He really changed the container for Orochimaru. Well, because of his own reminder, Sasuke, who is now vigilant, finally found out that something was wrong. Suppressing his thoughts, Gong Yi thought of this, and the whole person also immediately. Dodge out of here. The location he went to was the location record that Sasuke left just now. Chapter 600, The Glory of Uchiha. The border of the ninja continent, in the secret laboratory of Orochimaru. Cough, cough, cough. In the dark underground, there is a faint candlelight. Although it only had a dim yellow light, it at least illuminated the dark surroundings. Orochimaru sat on the bed, coughing violently. His already pale face was paler now. The sweat on his forehead continued to flow, and it seemed that he was about to be terminally ill. Orochimaru-sama, are you all right? Putting the medicine on the table, Kabuto came to the bed and asked. It's holding up. Orochimaru covered his mouth with his hand, and responded gloomily, it's been a success, as long as it doesn't take long, that body will be mine. It's about to be reincarnated, and it doesn't matter how you feel now. Breathing heavily, Orochimaru was very uncomfortable, but it was difficult to suppress his inner joy. The body he dreamed of, and the pair of seductive eyes will soon belong to him. Lord Orochimaru, but it looks like you've reached your limit. Standing beside him, Kabuto said slowly, if this is the case, if you don't put in level 10 drugs, your body will. I know, let's keep it for a while. Put down the hand holding the mouth. Orochimaru's mouth has a blood mark of Yuhi. In this state, he will indeed die completely. The activity of the whole body has been completely unable to support for long. Without the maintenance of medicine, Orochimaru may not last for the next day. Well, I'll change the medicine right away. Kabuto nodded, immediately. Quickly walked out. Crackling closed the door slowly, following the firelight outside. Kabuto's lens reflected a cold white light. That. Murderous, obviously the body has reached its limit. Thinking about it, a faint smile appeared on Kabuto's mouth, but that lord just used his strength too. Well, that's it, I can't bear to leave Orochimaru-sama. Defeat Kazekage and Hokage, 2 giants. It's just one step away from bringing the Konoha village down. The legendary Sannin Tsunade, Jiraiya. Even if they are enemies at the same time, they have never released such murderous aura. Walking in this narrow underground passage, the light of flames swaying all around. This is how Kabuto muttered to himself. I have to say, the growth of Orochimaru-sama is really scary. Hehe, if it goes on like this, Orochimaru-sama got Sasuke's body, I don't know how it will compare to Gongyi-sama. Thinking about it, Kabuto smiled even more. Soon, it was incomparably complicated, like a labyrinth in an underground laboratory. In another room, Sasuke was sitting quietly with his eyes closed. He seems to be waiting for something, and it seems that something is going on inside. A small black snake suddenly came out along the position. Obviously, now Orochimaru, the taboo enchantment has absolutely no effect on Gongyi. As long as he wanted to, he could easily let the psychic snake come to Sasuke's side. It's Mr. Gongyi's message. Sasuke, who seemed to have a feeling, opened his eyes and looked at the black psychic snake. It's time to start, Sasuke. Everything that follows is all based on your own will. Two simple sentences were engraved in Sasuke's mind at the moment when the psychic snake disappeared. Sasuke's current strength is very strong, and it has long been different from the past. Especially when I follow Orochimaru around, and at the same time, I am constantly being tempered. Sasuke completely surpassed before, and the whole person's Sharingan has been finally sublimated. However, Sasuke was waiting for Gongyi's order for the reason he didn't do anything. Now Gongyi has not spoken. No matter how much Sasuke hates this place and Orochimaru, he will choose to hold back. But it's different now, and now Gongyi has ordered himself again. In the future, you can master at will. Gongyi didn't decide anything for him, nor ordered him anything. Sasuke knew that Gongyi had already handed over the decision to himself just now. It is to kill, it is to escape, or it is to kill and not escape. Now it's all up to my own ideas. Kill. In my mind, that thought that had been suppressed by Sasuke for a long time suddenly burst out. His only thought was this. Kill Orochimaru. Sasuke knew he couldn't hesitate any longer. Sasuke has already heard about Akatsuki's side now. His strength is strong now, and he can't wait to fight. For Gongyi. At the same time, he also has to find Itachi, his brother who has carried a lot of burdens. All in all, Sasuke is not allowed to continue to escape comfortably here. Thinking of this, Sasuke's pair of deep eyes burst out with endless killing intent. Standing up, he reached out and opened the door. Sasuke walked towards the passage ahead with a stern face, where Orochimaru lived in his memory. The faint flames around him kept flickering, distorting Sasuke's shadow. Now Sasuke knows in his heart that his next decision will affect everything in the future. Successfully killed Orochimaru. I can officially leave here. In vain, he has gained powerful power, countless secret techniques, and at the same time hard to experience tempering. Fight for Gongyi, find Itachi, and repeat the glory of Uchiha together. Accidentally failed and was killed by Orochimaru. I will be replaced by myself. All the previous things will be in vain, and at the same time, the plans in my mind will completely disappear. Because there simply won't be anyone going to be able to finish it. A look of movement began to appear on his face. Sasuke naturally went through an ideological struggle, but he still decided to kill Orochimaru. The longer you drag on, the more detrimental it will be to you. Now Sasuke knows that since he has decided, there is no need to procrastinate. Gongyi's decision was left to him, and Sasuke naturally didn't want to waste time like this. After a few turns, Sasuke has come to the end. There is only a black door there. Behind, Sasuke can clearly perceive that it is Orochimaru's chakra. He is very weak now, and according to his own deduction, Orochimaru should be the weakest in this period. It is also the most successful one. After waiting for a long time, today is just an opportunity. Sasuke suppressed all his thoughts, and the killing intent in his eyes erupted, and he came to the front. Alas! A azure blue thunder and lightning erupted instantly. With a bang, the black door was instantly smashed. Chidori's Sharp Spear. To see the underlined version of the novel, please download the latest chapter of Fei Lu Shaokan.